courts today, with head of organized crime at SAPS, Richard Shibiri, set to take the witness stand. Shibiri has been implicated by previous witnesses of trying to bribe police officers and being in the pockets of suspected cartel members Katiso Katie Molefe and Vusimuzi Kat Matlala. Tabo Bester, Eyewitness News.
And Israel has launched new attacks on Iran, while the U.S. military says it has hit nearly 2,000 targets inside the Islamic Republic since attacks began on Saturday. The latest Israeli strikes come hours after Iran launched 3 separate missile strikes at Israel. According to the Iranian Red Crescent, the U.S. and Israeli strikes have killed 787 people in Iran. 6 U.S. service members died in action and 11 people were killed in Israel as Iran fired back. Iran has vowed to inflict a heavy price in retaliation, and drones struck adjacent the U.S. consulate in Dubai, starting a fire but inflicting no casualties. U.S. Central Commander Brad Cooper says since attacks on Iran, Israel and U.S. military forces have targeted ballistic missiles.
We're less than 100 hours into this operation, and we've already struck nearly 2,000 targets with more than 2,000 munitions. We have severely degraded Iran's air defenses and destroyed hundreds of Iran's ballistic missiles, launchers, and drones. And in simple terms, we're focused on shooting all the things that can shoot at us.
Gold is trading at $5,086.47 an ounce. The rand, 16.57 to the dollar, 22.09 to the pound, 19.22 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $81.92 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got some delays along the M1 North approaching the Crown interchange already. This is due to peak time delays piling up there. There's also queuing traffic reported in Devland along the Golden Highway. This is between East Street and the N1 due to long-term roadworks.
And in your sport, Wolves shock Liverpool 2-1. Also wins for Everton and Sunderland. Kaizer Chiefs failed to move top 3 after they lost to Richards Bay 1-0. The Proteas play New Zealand in the T20 Cricket World Cup semi-final. That's at 3:30 today. And the All Blacks have appointed former Wallabies coach Dave Rennie as their head coach.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers. Johannesburg starting at 15 degrees, peaking at 24. Pretoria 17 and 25. Vereeniging 16 and 26. The top story in EWN this hour. Public Works Minister Dean McPherson says a building collapse that claimed 9 lives in Omonde has exposed cracks in how South Africa regulates construction.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702 on 92.7 and 106 FM.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And on DSTV channel 856.
It is 6 minutes past 6 o'clock. Good morning from me, Ray White, in for Bongs this morning on your breakfast show. Good to be in your company. Good morning, Johannesburg. How are you doing? Tshwane, Soweto, New York, Beijing, wherever you are listening to us from. Perhaps Dubai this morning. If you are, we'd love to hear from you. It's good to be in your company. The breakfast team is here. Almost got your traffic. Monday's birthday guy is back. Mateo Juaripe. Did you bring cake?
Good morning, Ray. No, my kids dealt with that. It's gone.
Oh,
it's gone.
Okay.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was cake. So.
Lovely. And presents? Did you get presents?
Yes, of course I did. I got a new pirate shirt, so I'm quite excited.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Right, you got to wear that tomorrow. There we go. So Mateo's back. Siamtanda Ropiwa Bapalile producing your show, of course, taking your calls. Cindy's got your sport. What happened to Liverpool? Here's a question right there. KG pushing your buttons this morning. And of course, Safisa's got your news. Lots to talk about. Our shout out this morning. Have you fallen for fake news or disinformation? And it's such a massive discussion. I've been all over X. I've been all over the other social medias. I'm just not sure what to believe anymore. I'd love your intake. 072 702 1702.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
So yes, have you fallen for fake news? If you have a look at X or other social media, I'm enjoying X. I know it's a bit outdated, but I'm enjoying it because it's good for war situations and things like that. But there's lots of artificial intelligence, lots of disinformation. There was a report yesterday that many Americans have been wiped out, I quote, wiped out, in an attack on the U.S. consulate office in Dubai. So immediately I went onto social media, had a good look at that, and I could see all sorts of videos and things, and I thought, oh, that's quite hectic. But then we have this. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he spoke to reporters on Capitol Hill in Washington, confirming that all U.S. personnel are safe. And in fact, there was a drone attack and it struck a nearby parking lot. Let's take a listen.
The last update I had with seconds before getting before these cameras was that a drone unfortunately struck a parking lot adjacent to the Chancellery building and set off a fire in that place. All personnel are accounted for. As you're aware, we began drawing down personnel from our diplomatic facilities in advance of this. In the cases, for example, of Beirut, we basically drew down to bare bones, as well as in Baghdad and in Erbil and in a couple other posts as well. So we've been very fortunate, obviously, but our embassies and our diplomatic facilities are under direct attack from a terroristic regime.
Now, don't get me wrong. It's not I'm saying that I believe him 100% either. But have you fallen for fake news? I'd love to hear from you. Mateo, have you ever seen something and you thought, whoa, hold on a second, that's terrible. Then you go and tell all your friends about it and your family and they start laughing at you.
I'm always very skeptical these days about someone dying because I've seen a lot of fake news about this Hollywood actor is no more or the South African actor is no more. I always double check those because I can't remember who the actor was, but it was a South African actor and they were said to have passed away. And I was like, before I actually, post this on my own social media, let me just find out if it's real. And it wasn't. And I was just like, okay, no more of that. I can't kill anyone who's not dead, so I'm not going to take it at face value when I see it on social media. I'm definitely going to have to check two or three times because even as a journalist, like sometimes when you see a headline, you're human. You're like, oh man, that's sad. Only to find out that person is still very alive.
Yeah, it's rubbish. I've got a friend who phones me up at least once every 2 days to say, Ray, have you seen this? You're in the news. And I turn around, I'm not going to name him, I turn around and go, come on. Look at it. What does it tell you? Do you really think it's true? And I mean, Mateo, this goes around and around every day.
You know what's really bad? WhatsApp is really bad. And I see it with my parents. My mom and dad always used to send me all sorts of fantastical stories about what's happening, what's coming. There's a new disease after COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And all sorts of things that were misinformation. And I'd have to say, look, that's not true. Here's the real article. Here's the real information. But it spreads quite quickly.
Exactly. Amo, has this happened to you?
Yeah, well, same. Parents are the most when it comes to, I would say, fake news. They will send you something that just doesn't look, especially because of the way WhatsApp is very quick in sending messages, right? They'll send me a link from, I don't know, Lord knows where. And the story is, you can see is not true. So my first and quick reply, it's not true. Fake news. I'm so used to that now. Fake news, it's not true. This is not the one.
Being in news, all of us here, it takes a large section of our lives just dealing with people with fake news. And they're asking a question, and that's a good thing. Always do ask because you need to get the right story out there. So 702 Land, what's the one post that you've fallen for? That you thought this has happened, but it didn't happen. And it got you sending out dis or misinformation. There's a difference. Misinformation is when you just got it wrong, but disinformation is when there's an intent in there. Have you fallen prey to either one of those? What was the post? We'd like to hear from you this morning. 072 702 1702.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Right, coming up on the program this morning in our Africa report later on, 2 young women in Uganda are facing life in prison for their crime of having an intimate relationship. And this is the thing. It's gay relationships in Uganda that has seen, well, their relationship has seen them being sentenced to life imprisonment. And this is the problem that we're having. So we'll be chatting to an expert about this a little bit later on. Then coming up after 7, I'll be speaking to the DA in Johannesburg. And the party there, they've rejected councillors' pay hikes. And what residents are saying residents should be demanding instead that councillors don't get these pay hikes. Instead, that roads should be fixed, water should be restored, etc., etc. But some of these pay hikes are huge, absolutely huge. So we're chatting to them a little bit later on. Also asking you the question. We've got our municipal elections coming up later on this year. What should be fixed first? What are the priority areas for you? What needs to be fixed? So send some WhatsApps through, and we'd like to read those out when we have the interview a little bit later on. Then also missiles flying in the Middle East, as you know, oil markets shaking, and all sorts of problems in the Northern Hemisphere. Well, latest polls and trends have shown that South Africa has come out tops as a safe haven. It's beautiful living in Mzansi. And a few of these lists have come out with like Fiji, New Zealand, Australia, obviously, because if there's a nuclear strike, we're in the Southern Hemisphere. But South Africa coming out tops, Mateo. I love living in Mzansi. We've got our problems. I just spoke about the city of Joburg, but, I don't have to get up in the morning and dodge a missile.
Not yet, Ray. Not yet. So hopefully not ever, I've seen some of those lists on social media as South Africa being a safer place. I mean, there's always a battle as well of late of, a lot of Americans, a lot of people from the UK are coming in here for the gig economy. They can work from home, and this is one of the cheapest destinations to do so. But at the same time, makes life very expensive for South Africans.
Yeah.
Drives up the price of rent and all those things like that. So that's the common debate, right? But South Africa, amongst other countries, has been listed as one of the safest to go to if there is war to break out in the world. Similarly, like we're seeing now with the US, Israel, and Iran, some people will be looking for safer destinations, and we happen to be one of them.
Yeah, look, at least when I got into my car this morning, I didn't have to scan the skies to see if some Apache helicopter was going to take me out. So there are pros of living in Mzansi. So lots to talk about this morning. Later on Friday the 13th, that's next Friday at the Keys Art Mile Avenue in Rosebank, we'll be talking about food and wine and Hello, a mother's love. That's a little bit later on. Hello, Cage, he's staring at. Yes, he's just correcting my pronunciation this morning. That means heart, and talking about congenital heart disease and this great initiative that's come to the fore to help folks with that one. So, yes, we would like to hear from you. 072 702 1702.
702.
More than a radio station.
Let's walk the talk.
And then, Mateo, it's good to have you back because you also add a bit of spice to the conversation. What are you asking us this morning?
Well, I'd like to know from you, Ray, and the rest of the 702 landers, are you a sucker for discounts? Do you buy things just because they're on sale or on discount? You weren't planning to do so, but you walk past the store and they say they've got, 3 products for the price of 2, and you're like, I need to have that.
Oh, I promised not to throw my wife under the bus this morning, but I know that she's sleeping at the moment. What is it about? Oh, I bought this. Look, there's a discount. And I turn around and I go, like, why?
There's always a thing about making a saving. It just feels a little good. Like maybe I didn't have to spend as much as the next person.
My cupboard's full of savings at the moment. It's great.
And it's full. That's a good thing, no?
Yeah, no, I'm broke.
Well, I try not to be like my mother. She used to buy anything and especially clothes, because they were on sale, because there was a discount, or because there was a buy one get free. So I try and not to get into that habit myself. I'm lucky if I really wanted a thing and I find it on sale. Like for instance, the latest, I think it was the Orlando Pirates jersey that I got.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was on sale. So I was lucky for that because I really wanted it. But
so it's nice when you do it.
No,
it's another person.
No, it's nice when I buy something that's on sale that I really wanted, not because it's on sale.
I'll tell you why I'm asking that question.
There we go.
702.
Weather.
Let's see what's happening with your weather for a Wednesday. Johannesburg, cloudy day in store for you. Actually, for Gauteng, with some scattered showers and thunderstorms expected later on. The high for the city of Gold, 24 degrees. Pretoria, 25. Vereniging, 26. Then Cape Town will be fine, along with light and variable winds, and a high of 25 degrees. Mbombela, good morning. Nelspruit, 26. Bloemfontein, 29. Durban, partly cloudy with a light northwesterly, a high of 30. Lebanon, 27. East London, also 27. And Kimberley, a hot 31 degrees.
EWN Traffic.
18 minutes past 6 o'clock. Right, Amo, how are the roads this morning?
Well, Ray, we've got peak time delays on most roads this morning. If you're traveling along the Mike 1 North, there's delays between Xavier Street and Carr Street, as well as on the N3 North between the Elands Interchange and Van Buren Road. If you're heading towards the Pretoria CBD, particularly traveling on the R80, do expect delays as you approach Escalating exit. That's in the Mountain View area. And of course, traffic lights are still out of order in Centurion at Old Johannesburg Road and Brackfontein Road, bound to cause some delays in the capital this morning. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 702.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
Let's walk the talk.
Almost 19 minutes past 6 o'clock now. Things you need to know about today. The Department of Basic Education says it's struggling to suspend a jailed deputy principal because there are gaps in the rules governing disciplinary action for educators who are behind bars. This is such a bizarre story. The deputy principal was arrested and charged with allegedly running a brothel, but the department says existing policies make it difficult to take formal suspension action against him while the legal process plays out. That is such a bizarre story. Then, Minister Dean McPherson has expressed condolences after a building collapse in Omondi, Johannesburg. You heard this in Eyewitness News with Safiso. Killing 9 people, marking the third such incident in just 3 months. He highlighted potential systemic weaknesses in building regulations and announced that the Council for the Built Environment will investigate for negligence or misconduct.
I think as the city manager has informed that they will give an opportunity to the owner of New World INV to come forward and to take responsibility and to demolish the building. That is very clear. If it is not, then the city will do so itself. I think that the city manager and deputy mayor will also consider the other buildings that are around here that are being constructed and whether indeed they also meet the required standards. But I think the city has to obviously provide those answers. Obviously their focus has been on rescue efforts. Those have now come to a conclusion, and I'm sure that they will shift those efforts. We of course will do everything that we can to support you, Deputy Mayor, and the city and the province Premier.
One thing I'm battling to get my head around is, in the old days, and I talk about years and years and years ago, we used to have building inspectors that went around and had a look at buildings that were being built. And I remember doing some home projects and I had my plans and all the rest. And this guy pitched up and he said, I need to have a look at your plans. And he checked me out. What's the state of play today? Whatever happened with that? When was the last time you saw a building inspector come around and inspect a building? I mean, are people just building now however they want? If you want to subdivide, if you want to have 10 structures in your back garden, you can build them. What has happened to building inspectors? I'd like your input on that one as well. Then later with Vicky Turner, what's the one thing you've done or still do that proves you live a privileged life? And Vicky's asking this because reports suggest Cristiano Ronaldo's £61 million private jet flew from Saudi Arabia to Madrid shortly after that drone attack near the US Embassy in Riyadh, sparking speculation about safety and wealth. Whether he was on board or not, the ability to move assets or yourself instantly across borders highlights a level of privilege. So more on that one a little bit later on. How do you feel about going fully digital for everyday things like transport payments? Does it excite you or does it worry you? Well, starting on the 26th of July, commuters on Cape Town's MyCity bus service will be able to pay for rides directly with bank cards or mobile payments, eliminating the need for a dedicated MyCity card. I'm going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons this morning. Should we have that for our taxi industry as well? Or are we ready for this? I mean, Mateo, a gogo coming at $12 to get to four ways. Are we ready for bank cards?
I'm not sure if it's in Pretoria, Mamelodi. There is a card system for taxis there that they're currently using, but it's for that particular rank and route, right? So it hasn't spread wide enough, but I think they are starting to innovate towards that direction. It would definitely help if you don't have to count the change in the front seat. I'll tell you that.
I know that tap on the shoulder. Okay. So, yeah, should we be going digital for taxis? And then the National Youth Development Agency was sharply criticised in Parliament after its annual report revealed more than 71 million rand in irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure, including costly travel and events. The committee chairperson there, Liesel van der Merwe, said the late report political involvement and spending patterns were very worrying. Just another case of corruption in Mzansi. And then, a little bit later on, we'll be talking about funding for the NYDA as well. But I'd like to hear from you this morning. Lots to talk about, 072-702-1702. But the one thing that does stick out this morning, what are we doing with our taxi industry? Is it time to go digital?
702.
The newspapers.
So, Fiso, what do you have this morning?
Ray, I'm looking at the South China Morning Post. The ripple effect of the escalations in the Middle East are being felt across the world, and this includes Hong Kong, where people are feeling the impact of the escalating war in the coming months, as rising global oil prices are expected to push up energy bills and dining costs. So, for instance, people going to restaurants, that might be something that they have to put in the back burner for now because prices are escalating. They say that the attacks on Iran by the US and Israel and subsequent retaliation across the region were also likely to slow the pace of US interest rate cuts and curb the rise in Hong Kong housing prices as well. So, the ripple effects are being felt far and wide. And as the military operations in the Middle East entered their fourth day, global oil prices continued to rise yesterday, prompting more major financial institutions to revise their forecast. Goldman Sachs and Barclays, for instance, have both indicated that Brent crude oil could hit $100 per barrel if tensions escalate further. I think now it's at 80, if I'm not mistaken. And despite the volatility in global energy markets, analysts suggest the spillover effects in Hong Kong's consumer price index might remain contained in the near term.
$82.59. I've got this lovely button on my computer at the moment. The Star this morning, we've got a search for Omondi building owner intensifies as death toll reaches 9. It's a shocking story. The Citizen this morning, Trump, big blow is still coming, he says, to Iran. After Iran says we're going to fight you and fight you and fight you. The Sowetan this morning, how building tragedy contractor flouted laws. What else do you have?
Ray, the Sowetan this morning, page 2, a family stunned as a teacher accused of lashing 92 times or pupil 92 times gets bail. This is a story that Bongani Bingwa has actually been highlighting on the show. The teacher accused of assaulting a grade 11 pupil at Titelo Secondary School in Protea North, Soweto, has been released on 2,000 Rand bail after spending the night behind bars. Mpho Ramapatsi appeared in the Protea Magistrates Court yesterday on a charge of assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. So she allegedly administered 92 lashes to the 62-year-old girl with a pipe for exceeding the required word count in an essay. The incident sparked widespread outrage among parents and community members, and they've raised concerns about discipline and safety of pupils in schools.
Gosh.
And some people outside of the court yesterday told the paper that the family of the pupil is devastated by both the alleged assault and the court's decision to grant this teacher
How old
bail.
was the girl?
16 years old.
16 years old.
Yeah.
Gosh. Right, in the business day this morning, the PIC seeks fixes to turn around troubled portfolio. That's a big story. Asset manager calls for panel of experts to salvage unlisted investments. And those
are the newspapers.
EWN Business.
Right, Mateo, you're asking, are you a sucker for discounts? Do you buy things just because they are said to be on discount? You're always falling for the, 3 for the price of 2 special. Why are you asking this morning?
Well, Ray, the continent's largest retailer, ShopRite, says its discounts helped attract more shoppers to its stores. Over the period, ShopRite says it had almost 10 billion rand in discounts of their products. That marketing ploy not only helped consumers save, but also drove up sales for the retailer. ShopRite has reported a 7.1% rise in revenue to 139 billion rand in its interim results. The ShopRite Group has attributed its impressive performance to continued growth in customers and product value. The retailer boasts a market share of approximately 32% of all local grocery spend. The company is growing at 2.3 times ahead of the rest of the market. Now, according to CEO Peter Engelbrecht, in December of 2025, a record 14,400 items were cheaper than they were in December of 2024. ShopRite and USave contributed about 5.1% increase in sales, while ShopRite records 572 million visits to its stores over the past financial year. 572 million visits. It doesn't help the fact that they have a delivery system that also works. Checkers 60/60. That's really giving a lot of their competitors some sweat and sleepless nights, if you will. Their sales were up 9%, while Checkers 60/60 shares, not shares, but sales were up 34%.
34%.
12 billion rand. So you're also shopping a lot on your phones, not just walking into their stores. Some new additions, including clothing brand Unique, along with Pet Shop Science, also showing positive growth for the company.
Right, how's the rand and the markets and the world doing at the moment?
A lot of blood on the JSE floors. The all share down 7,000 points as that geopolitical tension continues. Industrials were down 2.8%. Banking stocks were down close to 4%, while mining shares were down close to 10%. Some of the biggest losers included Implats, that were down close 17%. Northam down 13%, with Sibanye down 12%. Tungela was up 19% yesterday, with Saso up more than 1%. Looking at currencies, the rand, of course, has regressed since those blasts during the weekend. At 16 rand 50 now against the US dollar. We've been speaking about 15 rand for a very long time. But the dollar has strengthened the most than it did in May 2025. At 19 rand 17 cents against the euro, and at 22 rand 4 cents against the British pound. Price of gold still up at $5,177 an ounce, while platinum is up at $2,145. Brent crude, it's going to hurt for those petrol and diesel prices, now at $82.49 a barrel. More business after 7.
Yep, time for a bicycle. I'm afraid those times are coming back. It's just gone 6:30. Safisa, what do you have?
Thanks, Ray. Good morning. We begin with breaking news. Cope founder Mosiuoa Lekota has died at the age of 77. EWN has received confirmation that Lekota passed away at his home overnight. He had been ill and was in and out of hospital over the past year, and the party has confirmed that Lekota will be laid to rest in his hometown in Bloemfontein. We'll bring more details on this developing story in our bulletins. After government unveiled 2 new statues in Durban at a cost of 22 million rand, the DA says the funds should have been directed towards more pressing service delivery needs. President Cyril Ramaphosa unveiled statues of Nelson Mandela and Oliver Tambo at the North Beachfront and Moses Mabhida Stadium yesterday. While government maintains the monuments will significantly boost tourism in the city, critics have labelled the project a waste of taxpayer money. The DA's eThekwini mayoral candidate Hafin Hussein says there are far more urgent priorities.
These statues, which costed the people of Durban 22 million rand. Our city is in crisis. We have a water crisis. Communities go without water for weeks on end. 60% of the water in our city is being wasted because our city leadership didn't bother to fix the pipes for years.
Crime statistics for the third quarter of the current financial year shows a decrease in majority of serious crimes in the Western Cape, but the statistics show an increase in attempted murders, sexual offences and assault cases. Rape remains the leading sexual offence with 1,370 cases reported in the province. Carlo Peterson reports.
Western Cape Police Commissioner Tembesile Patakile says despite the decreases recorded, crime levels remain high in certain communities. Patakile mentioned some of police's successes during the period from October to December 2025.
607 illegal firearms were confiscated. On the detection front, 4,095 arrests of serious crimes such as murder, attempted murders, rape, kidnapping, robbery, aggravated and assault (CBH) were reflected.
Patakile says 28 convicts were handed 32 life sentences for serious crimes such as murder and rape. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And Israeli strikes have hit a Beirut hotel and a residential building in Lebanon's east as Israel announced broad-scale strikes against Hezbollah after repeated missile and drone launches. Lebanese state media says the Israeli attacks targeted a building in Baalbek in Lebanon's east, far from the border, as well as a hotel near Beirut in an area so far spared the violence. The south of Beirut, two towns outside of the traditional strongholds of Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah, the health ministry says Israeli strikes killed 6 people and wounded 8 others. The World Health Organization's chief Tedros Ghebreyesus says among those killed in Lebanon were 3 paramedics, while another 6 people were wounded while recovering people who had been hurt by explosions. Israeli strikes since Monday have killed at least 50 people in Lebanon. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 16 and 17 degrees, peaking at highs between 24 and 26.
And in the traffic, we've got delays along the N3 North. This is between the Elands Interchange and Van Buren Road. There's also queuing traffic, in fact, bumper-to-bumper traffic along the Mark 1 North. This is due to peak time delays between the Xavier Street off-ramp and Carr Street.
The breaking story this hour, Cope founder Mosiuoa Lekota has died.
Gauteng provincial government is working to expand public services such as health and education, create jobs, and fight crime. MEC of Finance and Economic Development, Bongani Bingwa, will outline how these and other programs will be funded when he presents the 2026-27 budget to the legislature on Tuesday, 10th March at 10 a.m. Catch the budget live on all media platforms using #GautengBudget2026. This message is brought to you by Gauteng Provincial Government, growing Gauteng together.
Hi, this is Alia Itzebet, Hollywood Bets brand ambassador. A reminder that you can still shoot for the stars while playing responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counselling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
The pain of losing a loved one is never easy. It will leave you feeling overwhelmed. At Clientele, we understand that burying loved ones with dignity truly matters. Our funeral plans pay out cash within just 24 hours and you receive 200 Rand airtime when you claim to make those important calls. Plus, we cover up to 13 people on one plan. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
What do you call someone who thinks outside the box? Creative. But what about someone who codes the box, brands it, sells it, rebrands it, and leads a team that reinvents it? That's a Red and Yellow graduate. Apply now to Unleash Remarkable with Red and Yellow Creative School of Business, a member of Honoris United Universities.
This Saturday, art, fashion and music will fuse together for one unforgettable day. The Mahindra Fusion Fest 2026, powered by 702, goes down at the Sunbet Arena, and it's going to be a cultural revolution. Muesli is hosting with live performances from Dali Wonga, Vocalistic, Kurt Darren, Claire Johnson from Mango Groove as well, Zeke Kumalo and the Swani Gospel Choir, and more. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster. Complete a test drive at your nearest Mahindra showroom and stand a chance to win the Mahindra XUV 3XO. T's and C's apply.
702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Ray. Regarding the taxi industry, these people even pay tax, pay as you earn, UIF, and stuff like that, or they just cash and they under public transport, which they're not really public transport. Isn't metro, buses and stuff public transport? Do these people pay as you earn? Do they pay tax, or they just abuse the roads and drive like they want to and do lawless, road things?
Morning, Ray and team. Regarding what do we fix first, I wouldn't even know where to start. I live in the south of Joburg, and I have 40 potholes in my street. The lights don't work. The grass is everywhere. They don't cut the grass. Half the street is made of grass. Driving to Rosebank now, it's just rubbish everywhere. The whole of Johannesburg's infrastructure is collapsing. I've lived here my whole life, 43 odd years. I have never, ever seen it in such bad state. Something drastic has to be done, but seemingly isn't being done. So I honestly don't know where you would start to try and fix the infrastructure, because I know it's the whole of Gauteng, arguably not just one isolated place, but it's dire. Ryan in Joburg.
Yeah, what would you fix first? I think maybe one of the things we should fix first is salary increases for our mayor, deputy mayor, MMCs and others, because we'll be talking about that a little bit later on. The DA in Gauteng, or in Johannesburg, have said that they don't want salary increases, these massive increases that they are getting, and we'll go through them a little bit later on. Fix the city, they say. Now, just a bit of comment on Mosiuoa Lekota, and you would have heard now in Eyewitness News that he has passed away. He was 77, and if you'd like to react to that this morning, I'd like to hear your thoughts on Mosiuoa Lekota. I remember him, Amo, when he said, if we lose the election by a certain amount or whatever, I'll eat my hat. and they gave him his hat afterwards. He didn't eat it. He just laughed, obviously. But I liked him, a very jovial fellow, and he was our defense minister for a while. He served at Tabo Bester in the cabinet there, and he co-founded COPE as well. Anyway, he's passed away. So I thought this morning, memories of Mosiuoa Lekota, 072 702 1702.
EWN Sport.
So Cindy, Mosiuoa Terror Lekota, they called him Terror for one reason. He was a terror on the soccer pitch.
Okay.
There we go.
Yes.
There we
And
go.
let's start with soccer, because last night, Premier League action. Wolves shocking Liverpool. They won 2-1. All 3 goals scored in the last 12 minutes of the match. Salah for Liverpool, and then for Wolves, it was Gomez, followed by Andres Winner, scored in stoppage time. That keeps Liverpool 5th on the table. Reds boss Arne Slot.
If we play this game in this fashion 10 times, I don't think we will lose 10 times. It's far from sure that we win every time, because therefore we were not good enough. If we don't want to rely on a deflected shot, we need to do better. We have to play better. But we've had enough chances to win the game. But credits to Wolves as well. They fight from first, second till the end, and got maybe a little bit of luck, what they deserved if you look at how much they put in throughout the whole game.
Everton beat Burnley 2-0 to move up to 8th. Sunderland beat Leeds 1-0, and Bournemouth finished goalless with Brentford. In the Betway Premiership, Kaizer Chiefs lost to Richards Bay 1-0 yesterday. Comere with the goal in the 69th minute. Orbit College moved further away from relegation with a 2-1 win over TS Galaxy, while Stellenbosch and Siwalele finished goalless. 5 more games tonight, with league leaders Pirates away Polokwane and Mamelodi Sundowns hosting Arrows. At the T20 Cricket World Cup, huge game for the Proteas today. They're playing New Zealand in the semi-final, starting at 3:30. Proteas are the only unbeaten side at this World Cup, and when the sides met earlier in the tournament, South Africa won by 7 wickets. Captain Aidan Markham on what they're expecting from Eden Gardens.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what conditions would be like. Obviously, we kept a close eye on the India versus West Indies game that was here to get a bit of an indication. Quickly now walked out to the wicket. It looks pretty good again. I think it's the darker soil, so yeah, we'll just have to not wing it, but come up with ways out in the middle after having seen a couple of balls, seeing how it's playing, and back those plans from there.
The match starts at 3:30, and the One Day Cup Warriors made it 2 wins from 2 with a 5-wicket win over Western Province. And the All Blacks have appointed former Wallabies coach Dave Rennie as head coach, taking over from Scott Robertson. He'll take charge of the team until after next year's World Cup. He's also based in Japan, but doesn't see that as a problem.
There's a lot of work to be done. Obviously I'm based in Japan, but I've done this a lot of times before. I've signed contracts a long way out. I know that we can maximise this few months by getting people over to see me and me visiting here in bi-weeks and so on. So confident that we'll hit the ground running come July.
It's quite an interesting move because in his time as Australia coach, Dave Rennie won only 38% of matches. He was the lowest of any Wallabies boss to have coached 30 tests or more.
I must admit, when I heard the news from you this morning, I thought, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting selection.
Yeah. I think as South Africans, we can lick our lips. It's unless, of course, we could argue that the state of Australian rugby had deteriorated to a point where it's really, because you must remember that in Australia, and people find this very hard to believe, rugby union is not big. Aussie rules is huge. It's like they are the superstars. So not many boys play rugby. It's not seen as the biggest sport. So perhaps, but I mean, if you think of the greats in rugby that have gone before, Australia's never been really bad, and then they went through the slump, and Dave Rennie was he to blame for the slump? We'll have to wait and see what happens to the All Blacks.
Look, there was also talk of Handsome Steve coming back as well. Steve Hansen coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, there was all these rumours that were happening, so I don't know.
Yeah, he beats Jamie Joseph to the job. That was the only candidate they were considering. That's it. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz.
On 702.
Hi, my name is Shalom. I go to Tur Academy and I'm 12. I want to be a lawyer when I grow up, and I'm so excited to play with Uncle Ray on the Whiz Quiz.
Shalom, I'm looking forward to playing with you as well. Will you get 10 out of 10? I've seen the questions already this morning. I think you've got a really good chance.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
EWN Traffic.
It's currently 6:43. This Eyewitness News Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save in your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. How about the roads?
Well, Ray, we've got delays on the Mike 1 North. This is between Xavier Street off-ramp and the Car Street exit. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N3 North. This is between the Elands Interchange and Van Buren Road. While traveling in Germiston, please do remember those roadworks that are taking place along the N17 West between Osborne Road and the Rand Airport Interchange, causing heavy traffic volumes. Please be on the lookout there. You can still avoid these roadworks if you're heading towards areas like Bedford View as well as inner city Germiston by using routes like the N12 as well as Refinery Road. If you are traveling on the N1 South out of Midrand, queuing traffic between the Allendale Road off-ramp and the Baklu turn-off, there's an accident that I'm seeing between these 2 points. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You know that feeling when you find a parking spot right by the entrance? That's how good it feels to see the Outsurance pointsman on your route. Everyone breathes a little easier knowing the Outsurance pointsmen are on the roads. They've been easing the traffic congestion so everyone gets where they need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you always get something else in proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using hashtag pointsman love, a licensed insurer, and FSP.
Part of the 702 family.
Hi, I'm Katlako Mosiuoa. I'm a 23-year-old boy from Johannesburg, South Bosonia, and I love listening to 702 because it is informative and it keeps us up to date with current affairs.
Welcome to our 702 family. Let's walk the talk.
New year. New you, same trusted We Buy Cars since 2001. Whether you're buying or selling, We Buy Cars makes the process simple and seamless. Simply visit webuycars.co.za to complete the Sell My Car form for an offer, or browse through thousands of vehicles of all shapes and sizes. Ready to buy, sell, or trade in? Well, visit webuycars.co.za, or one of their branches nationwide.
Let's hear from Dr. Armand, owner of Monument Dental, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
It was one call and I was covered immediately. We are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Morning, sir. Hey, got up the shop.
topping up.
Yeah. Hey, remember when our coffee didn't taste this good?
And when the Wi-Fi dropped 3 times a day?
Yo, my man.
Good times.
Now we've leveled up. High-speed Wi-Fi, private spaces, on-site support. This place runs like a machine.
Yo, flippin' seamless.
Yeah, that's WeWork, eh?
And my team's like loving it, eh? Productivity's up. No one's fighting over the fridge.
Yeah, I know. It's the dream.
WeWork, Africa's largest co-working spaces. WeWork.co.za. Made for work, built for business.
Coming up on your program in the next hour, it's What's the Question? And it's brought to you by Outsurance. Up for grabs, 3,000 rands in cash. All you need to do is send us an answer based on anything that has piqued your interest in the show, and you could win 1,000 rand. Simply WhatsApp your name and that answer to 072 702 1702. And of course, a little bit later on, someone else will ask the question to win 2,000 rand. Remember, you stand a better chance of being selected to give us today's answer if you have SMS'd out to Outsurance and got yourself a quote. So SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance.
702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Hi guys. Yeah, things are not always really on sale. I think all of us are noticing the pattern where retailers mark things up, supposedly, and then tell us it's a discount. For example, on Takealot, there's a supplier that sells a garden bench that I looked at. I know the price is 1,400. They mark it up to 1,900 as the normal price, and then they say, look, discount. It is now 1,499. So it's actually 100 rand more than the normal price that it was for quite a while. So yeah, I think if you someone who watches prices for a while, you actually realize that it's very seldom really a saving. So when you do see a good discount, you know whether it's really a discount. But yeah, sadly, I think a lot of these discounts is just a ploy to drag people in, and it goes to the old saying, buyer beware.
Yeah, Mateo asking the question this morning, do you go for discounts? Do you go for 2 for the price of 1? He was talking about ShopRite. They've had great results with their supermarkets, and they say, we've got all our discounts. And he just asked the question, do you go for discounts and do you believe in them?
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Right, time to play the Whiz Quiz now, and we say good morning to Shalom. Hi, Shalom. Good morning. Welcome to 702.
Hi. Good
Hi.
morning.
Good morning. And what do you want to do one day when you leave school?
I want to be a lawyer.
Excellent, a lawyer. Why a lawyer? Do you want to catch people out?
I'm good at winning arguments and convincing people.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with you this morning. I'm just going to ask you 10 questions. If you get 10 out of 10 in 60 seconds, you get 10,000 rand. And Shalom, for everyone that you get right, you get 100 rand. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Excellent. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Right, KG, start the clock. Spell the word stapler.
Please repeat.
Spell the word stapler. Stapler.
STAPLER.
Correct. True or false? Snakes have eyelids.
True.
It's false. In maths, what is 70 minus 35?
35.
Correct. What you call a baby frog beginning with a T?
Tadpole.
Correct. Which large lake lies between Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda?
Skip.
All right, it's Lake Victoria. An insect is an animal with how many pairs of legs?
8.
That's 3. True or false? Sound travels faster in water than air.
False.
It's true. Which sport uses the term Grand Slam, soccer or tennis?
Tennis.
Oh, we couldn't complete that one there. All right, you got 3. It's 300 rand on its way to you, Shalom. Have an awesome day at school today.
Thank you.
Cool. There we go. That's Shalom playing the Whiz Quiz. And you can enter, just SMS us or WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz
On 702.
Hey, Ray, good morning. When I
hear about the passing of Ndade Lekota, a lot of good memories come back because I like the man. He was radical as they come. But I would never forget how he told us how Cyril Ramaphosa sold them out in 1974. In 1974, President Cyril Ramaphosa went to the special branch and he told that his friends put in communist ideas in his head. And Terry Lekota and his friends went to jail when President Cyril Ramaphosa went home. I mean, that's nothing short of treason, isn't it, Ray? Good morning to you.
Gosh, okay, all right. I suppose that has to be independently verified as well. I'm sure our president, who listens to 702 this morning, just sat up in his chair. But yeah, talking about Mosiuoa Lekota and passing away at the age of 77, he had this robust laugh. I remember I used to chat to him quite often, specifically when it came down to the elections. Because we'd go to the Rock in Pretoria, and he was there, and he had that whole thing about, I'll eat my hat if we don't do well. And I remember that robust laugh. And he has formed a very important part of our history. If you think, he was on Robben Island with Madiba as well. He was the national chairperson of the ANC. He was defense minister as well. So talking this morning about the life and times of Mosiuoa Terror Lekota, because he was a terror on the soccer field, apparently. Love to hear your stories. 072 7021 702.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Right, lots to talk about this morning. Something else that's really, got to our attention is what happened with the Epstein files. And I must admit, sure, a lot now emerged from Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. They testified before the Congress there, and they were asked all sorts of questions. Bill Clinton was absolutely grilled, and there have been many pictures of him emerging, one of him in a jacuzzi. And he's sitting there. One with a young woman as well, and all sorts of questions coming forth. And he went on to social media. He released this video, and he said, I did nothing wrong. I knew the guy, and then when I found out what he was doing, I no longer wanted to have any sort of friendship with him. We've been talking about fake news this morning, and which posts have you fallen for? Well, the United States House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, they've now released video footage from their depositions of Bill Clinton and Hillary, showing the former president and former secretary of state responding to questions about their links to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. So this clip features the questioning from Friday's deposition, in which Bill Clinton was pressed by Nancy Mace about his relationship with the late Epstein
cases that Epstein said, you quote, like them young. Why would Epstein say that about you?
You're asking him to think about why Mr. Epstein would say something about him.
Why would Epstein say that about
she's
the
asking
president?
you to try to be in Mr. Epstein's mind and guess at what Mr. Epstein would have thought about.
First of all, that's not true. That I have any interest in underage.
I didn't say underage. I said young.
But it's still not true.
Is an intern young?
Yes.
Okay.
At my age, anybody younger than I am.
Did you know Jeffrey Epstein instructed a witness to deny you were ever on his island?
He didn't have to, since I was never there.
Did you ever travel to Zorro Ranch?
Is that the one in New Mexico?
Yes.
No.
How many dinners did you have with Ghislaine Maxwell or Jeffrey Epstein in attendance?
She's asking to the best of your recollection.
I have no idea.
Okay, did you ever discuss sexual misconduct allegations made against you with Epstein or Maxwell?
Never.
Did Epstein or Maxwell ever offer to help manage or silence women who made sexual misconduct allegations against you?
No.
Did Epstein or Maxwell ever offer financial support directly or indirectly to legal defense funds related to impeachment proceedings or civil actions against you?
Not to my knowledge.
Sure, so there we go. That's Bill Clinton sounding quite husky. Now, thinking about that and thinking about what's happened as well, we don't know what's happening with the Epstein files because a lot of the stuff has been redacted. That means they've taken a Koki pen and they've gone over the important part. So listen to this. Former Secretary of State, this is Hillary Clinton, says Donald Trump should testify regarding any ties to Epstein during her deposition. This was before the Oversight Committee. And this is the thing. We need to know more about Donald Trump.
As an American, as a citizen, all of us should be, regardless of party, wondering what are they hiding? And that's why I said in my opening statement, The President of the United States is not above the law and should be, in a setting like this, answering questions under oath, as should others who are prominently featured in the files, and especially the group that is featured after 2008. Because prior to 2008, when Jeffrey Epstein pled guilty to the watered-down charges that Alex Acosta negotiated and then was rewarded for in the first Trump administration with a cabinet position, there are so many unanswered questions.
But there are, and this is the thing, I don't understand why those parts are being redacted, are being taken over with Koki, and that we don't know what happened with Donald Trump. Or perhaps by me saying that now, I do understand it, because obviously the truth can't come out. So this is something we need to follow very closely. At the moment, though, there is this massive war in the Middle East, so the attention of the United States and Congress and others. In fact, later on today, you'll have members of the hierarchy continuing to testify speak to Congress about why they are in the Middle East and why they're doing that. So suppose this will be put on the back burner, at least for now. We were supposed to speak to Frank Mugisha. He's the Executive Director of Sexual Minorities in Uganda. And it's about two young women, 22 and 21 years old in age, and they had a relationship. And in Uganda, it is illegal to have a gay relationship. And they are facing now prison terms of life imprisonment. Unfortunately, we can't bring you that interview because Frank is not answering this morning, but we will continue to try to bring you the latest on that story.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
Right, we've got two big interviews this morning, and we'll be speaking to the DA's Johannesburg caucus leader, Belinda Echonzongjoku, on why her party rejected councillors' pay hikes and what residents should be demanding instead. And this is the question I put out to you a little bit earlier on. Should our councillors and our mayor just put their massive, and there are large, salary increases to one side? And what should they be concentrating on first? Either way, at the end of this year, we most probably will see a new setup, I would say, at least in Johannesburg. And maybe the ANC may return to the EFF. It may be Gogozilla. She may be coming in as well as the mayor. Maybe Herman Mashaba. He's put up his hand. But I'm asking you this morning what needs to be fixed first. And then our second big interview this morning, missiles flying in the Middle East. South Africa has been seen as a safe haven, and there have been a few polls lately and a few trend articles, and South Africa keeps coming up as the big place to stay, us, New Zealand, Australia as well. So I'll be speaking to Jackie Salia from the Institute for Security Studies about this. Are we really as safe as we think we are? So lots to talk about. It's just gone 7 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Mosiuoa Lekota has died.
I need to confirm the sad news of the passing of our president, Lekota, around 3 a.m. this morning.
And the health minister reveals that concerning chemicals found in sanitary products are also common in food. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. We begin with breaking news. COPE leader and former ANC chairperson Mosiuoa Lekota has died. He was 77 years. He had been battling ill health and was in and out of hospital over the past year. COPE interim leader Tabo has confirmed that Lekota died at his home overnight.
I need to confirm the sad news of the passing of our president, Lekota, around 3 a.m. this morning. And we are just waiting for the family. We will be meeting with the family this morning to talk about what needs to happen next.
Lekota's political career effectively ended when COPE failed to make it back to Parliament in the 2024 general elections. Babalondenze has more on the life and times of the struggle veteran.
Mosiuoa Lekota was always going to leave the political stage after the 2024 national elections. His swan song However, also saw his party fail to make it back in parliament. And while it was a bitter ending for Cope, this was a far cry from the life he led. Lekota was born in Kroonstad in the Free State, which he eventually left for his schooling. In the 1970s, then a student at Limpopo's University of the North, the man named Terror, due to his footballing skills, was expelled because of his involvement in politics. He eventually led the South African Students' Organization, which ultimately saw him and 8 others arrested for treason, which booked him a one-way ticket to Robben Island. It was here where he met Dr. Nelson Mandela and other political prisoners. During his stint in prison, Lekota abandoned his black consciousness posture in favor of non-racialism. Following his release, he joined the United Democratic Front and subsequently the ANC once it was unbanned. When the ANC came into power, he served it in government in various capacities, including as Premier of the Free State and Minister of Defense. A staunch ally of former President Thabo Mbeki, Lekota and other loyalists started an ANC breakaway party COPE in 2008, following the 2007 Watershed Polokwane Conference, which ushered in the rise of former President Jacob Zuma. The father of 7 spent time on the opposition benches and campaigned for his organization to make it back to the 7th Parliament, but this was not to be. Baba Londenze, Eyewitness News.
Public Works Minister Dean McPherson says the recurrence of collapsed buildings signals the need for crisis management after 9 people died at a construction site in Omonde. He says too many lives are lost due to structural failures. McPherson was speaking at the site of the tragedy a day after a concrete slab of the second-floor deck gave in, trapping workers beneath the rubble. Jabuli Lembata reports.
Public Works Minister Dean McPherson is calling for accountability from those responsible for the site. He revealed that the name of the company is New Order NIV, however, also stated that his team has not been able to locate them. He says there are obvious system failures in the regulation process, which could be the reason why there is a growing trend of construction site disasters. He says this now presents itself as a crisis and needs to be dealt with as such with the necessary resource allocation.
We must confront whether there are systematic conditions that are allowing these tragedies to take place in the first place. I think that this demands now of us as national government, Premier and Deputy Mayor, a crisis response.
McPherson says he engaged with the President last night, who is committed to finding a permanent solution to the matter. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News, Omonde.
Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi says he hopes to have more definitive answers by the end of the week about recent research on women's sanitary products. Recent data released by the University of the Free State suggests many popular products contain harmful chemicals. But responding to the concern in the National Assembly yesterday, Motsoaledi called for calm, and he says that some disruptive chemicals allegedly found in the sanitary products are also commonly found in food and everyday household products, toiletries and cosmetics. Motsoaledi says the findings of the study need more analysis.
What we have done, we have brought scientists together to tell us exactly what is the meaning of this study. And before the end of this week, we'll call a press conference to understand. But I just wanted to know that everything you have eaten today contains these products.
And President Donald Trump has again criticized UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer for not initially allowing American warplanes to use UK bases to strike Iran. Starmer, who told Parliament on Monday that his government does not believe in regime change from the skies, has drawn Trump's wrath by initially refusing to have any role in Washington's war with Iran. Starmer later agreed to a US request to use 2 British military bases for a specific and limited defensive purposes. Any potential military action in the Middle East, however, is politically sensitive in the UK following former Prime Minister Tony Blair's support for the US-led invasion in Iraq in 2003. Trump's comments to The Sun came before Starmer on Tuesday announced that he was sending helicopters with counter-drone capabilities and a warship to bolster Cyprus' defenses as part of its defense operations.
This is not Winston Churchill that we're dealing with. This is not the age of Churchill. I will say the UK has been very, very uncooperative with that stupid island that they have, that they gave away and took a 100-year lease having to do with perhaps indigenous people claiming the island.
Gold is trading at $5,157.18 an ounce. The rand is at 16.58 to the dollar, 22.07 to the pound, 19.24 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $82.57 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays. In fact, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N12 as well as the N3 North split. This is between Fort Drucker Road leaving the South Crest area all the way towards Bedford View due to roadworks that are taking place along this route. And if you're still traveling in the Germiston area, more roadworks will affect your trip this morning. This is along the N17 as well between Osborne Road and Heidelberg Road.
And in your sport, it's semi-final time at the T20 Cricket World Cup today. The Proteas taking on New Zealand at 3:30. Wolves shocked Liverpool 2-1 last night, while tonight City, Arsenal and United are all in action. Kaizer Chiefs suffered a third straight league defeat, going down 1-0 to Richards Bay. And the All Blacks have appointed former Wallabies coach Dave Rennie as national coach.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 24 and 26 degrees. The breaking story in EWN this hour. COPE leader and former ANC chairperson Mosiuoa Lekota has died.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702 on 92.7 and 106 FM.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And on DSTV channel 856.
It is 8 minutes past 7 o'clock. Good morning from me, Ray White, in for Bongs this morning. Sure, that news. COPE leader and former ANC chairperson Mosiuoa Lekota passing away overnight at the age of 77 years. Lots of memories. If you go back to the struggle days, if you were alive, if you grew up then, also as well, the dawn of our democracy in 1994. He had such a prominent role. He was part of the ANC, part of the government of Tabo Bester, right up to when Tabo Bester was recalled from office. And then after that, he went into opposition politics. He co-founded COPE, and I just remember that whole thing. I'll eat my hat if we don't do well. And, well, he did. He kind of had this funny little nibble on his hat, but he didn't eat it. But Mosiuoa Lekota, an absolute character, Terror Lekota, known on the soccer field, because he was really good at what he did. That's where the terror part comes from. So, yeah, rest in peace. I'd like to hear from you this morning. What is your reaction? What is your reaction to the passing of Mosiuoa Lekota? Also coming up on the program as well this morning, talking about Johannesburg and the councillors, the mayor, the deputy mayor. They've all got hefty salary increases. And the DA, they've said, no, we don't want these. We want service delivery in our city. So I've been asking you this morning, where should that service delivery start? But we'll be having a look at those increases and asking the question, why are you giving yourself increases but we do not have services? And then a little bit later on as well, talking about South Africa as a safe haven. Quite a few polls and trending articles and things like that have said South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, the Southern Hemisphere, also Fiji, but specifically South Africa is the place to live. So taking a closer look at that one. And our shout out this morning was taxis. Should they be digitized? In other words, you can't pay with cash anymore. Maybe it's good for SARS and capturing some tax. 072 702 1702.
Morning 702 land. Morning Ray. I wanted to say, RIP to Mr. Mosiuoa Lekota. Yeah, man, it's a pity he ended up going to the wrong ends of the political sphere. But, I'll never forget the way he used to stare at someone. You know, that look that he used to give. But, he did well for our struggle. And, we'll never forget how he told us how Cyril Ramaphosa sold them out, actually. And and you could tell by the way he was saying it was coming from a very deep, sad place. So that's one thing I'll remember him for speaking out the truth. Until this day, Cyril Ramaphosa has still not come out to defend what Mr. Lekota said.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Right, things you need to know about this morning, and we'll start there with Mosiuoa Lekota passing away at the age of 77. So, yeah, keep your reaction coming this morning. Other things you need to know, with 100 days to go until the 2026 FIFA World Cup in Mexico, Mexico's stepping up preparations for hosting matches, showcasing aerial and drone footage of stadiums like the FIFA World Cup venues and infrastructure in Mexico City as part of the countdown. Now, organizers are working on safety, logistics, and facilities. Are you going to be going to the 2026 FIFA World Cup? Well, that's the Mexico leg of it anyway. And then in other news, is spending 22 million rand on statues the right priority when basic services are failing? And I ask you this because President Cyril Ramaphosa officially unveiled 2 large bronze statues of Nelson Mandela and Oliver Tambo in Durban. But critics argue the funds should have been used to fix water, electricity, and sewage issues instead. What do you think about that one? Now, I know you order things online. Well, you better listen to this then. Orders from Temu, Shein, and Amazon may take rather significantly longer to arrive as the Middle East conflict disrupts key shipping routes like the Strait of Hormuz. Rising freight insurance and rerouting costs are also likely to push prices up for consumers, with some deliveries delayed for weeks. So just take that into account. Emirates Airlines and others, they've grounded their planes for now because they're a little bit worried that if they do start taking off, Iran may start firing at them. And then something we had a little bit earlier on, Hillary and Bill Clinton sat for separate depositions regarding their ties to Jeffrey Epstein, denying any prior knowledge of his crimes, while Hillary reacted angrily after a deposition photo was leaked. Now, this happened on Friday, but since then, the videos have come out. We've also had Bill Clinton saying, I did nothing wrong. We have heard that before. I did nothing wrong. But Hillary Clinton saying, yeah, but this stuff has been leaked. And she's also saying as well, hey, what about Donald Trump? Why don't we know about what he did? Those are just some of the things you need to know about this morning.
7:02. Up next.
The big interview.
EWN Traffic.
It's 14 minutes past 7 o'clock. It's been a busy morning this morning. Amo, how's the traffic?
Well, Ray, in the Fourways area, we do have about a 20-minute hold-up. This is along Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen Road and the N1 exit. There's also queuing traffic along Witkoppen Road as you make your way towards the main road. So traveling in the greater Fourways area, do expect those delays and try to avoid if you can. And then if you're traveling in the city of Tshwane, we've got bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is along the N1 South approaching the Flying Saucer turn off. There's also queuing traffic on the R80 East Mabopane Highway towards the Espionage exit. Obviously, this is due to peak time delays at this time of the morning. I'll have more updates for you. Do stay tuned, and if you come across anything else, do remember that we are on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Outsurance business insurance, the cost was far less. I even have better benefits.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you get 24/7 access to panic assistance, roadside assistance, and even office assistance? For guest houses, catering companies, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurance FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
What's bro? Why is there a horse in your driveway?
You right, Savvy. Why drive a Mustang when you can ride one?
What the missus say?
Well, she had a bit of a long face, but now she's stable.
If you need a backup plan, We Buy Cars can sort you out.
Nah, Savvy. This thing is eco-chic.
Stop horsing around, cowboy. Rather get one of these from We Buy Cars.
What's the horsepower on that thing?
More than one, Dolph. More than one.
Don't be Dolph, be savvy. We Buy Cars, geared for adventure, geared for you. 7:02.
The big interview.
Here's a story that's very close to all of us. Johannesburg councillors have approved salary increases for themselves. The city's struggling with water outages, delayed projects and service delivery challenges. Well, residents are still paying their own bills while waiting for basic services. The vote set new upper limits for the mayor, the deputy mayor, the speaker, MMCs and committee chairs. Now, I want to go through this with you. These are just some of the figures. The Mayor Dada Morero will now receive 1.650 million, which is 64,987 Rand more a year than his previous package. The Deputy Mayor, Loyiso Masuku, will receive 1.332 mil, which is 126,746 Rand more every year. The Speaker gets 1.332 million, which is 52,480 Rand more. And then the MMCs also as well, they get massive increases, close to 50,000. Chairpersons of the various oversight committees receive 1.2 mil. That's up 47,990 Rand. So the question is, what on earth is going on here? If you're giving yourself these massive salary increases, what about service delivery in Johannesburg? And shouldn't that money go towards fixing everything? Well, joining us is Belinda Kaiser Etio-Jongjoku, who is the DA Johannesburg caucus leader. Belinda, hi, good morning. Good to have you on 702.
Good morning, Jake, and good morning to the listeners.
So, I mean, your reaction to this, is this a disgrace or is this just a salary increase?
Well, it's an absolute disgrace, and it's precisely why the DA had rejected it in council. It came to council before, and we rejected it because we don't believe that as public representatives we should be getting an increase as well we are having to deal with outages, power outages, water outages, and we currently have a water crisis in the city. In particular, we were also not happy with the fact that a deputy mayor position had been created. We rejected that as well previously.
Yeah. All right. So I suppose with the essential services under strain, what immediate steps should the city take instead of this? Where should that money go directly?
Jack, I just want to take you back a minute. We must also remember there's also the SAMU increase, the SAMU politically facilitated agreement that was also kind of snuck into council that we also were completely against. All this money should be going towards, fixing the infrastructure. We're sitting with, water bursts. And we're sitting with road collapses across the city where sinkholes are forming. And instead of the city officials and councillors, politicians getting salary increases, that money should be going to fixing the infrastructure that had not been maintained for close to 30 years.
Yeah. Just explain that SAMU increase that you're saying was snuck in. Were they paid twice 2 increases? How does this work?
Look, in October last year, we became aware of a politically facilitated agreement that had already been signed around 2015. Now, there's a lot of technicalities around the agreement that the DA don't agree with. We objected to it. We also then were told that the city had then told the media and everybody that it is not a done deal. To our surprise, we found out that it's been also snuck into some agreements. Some payments were already made last year, and they were just about to send the next batch of the agreement of the payments that was snuck into the adjustment budget. Now, the adjustment budget could not go through last week. It had to be withdrawn because the DA requested that it be withdrawn and reworked because we only got it 6 hours prior to the council meeting. And that was where this PF politically facilitated agreement of 10 billion was in, and that is why the DA had yesterday served the city with legal papers with the intention to ask them to remove that agreement and rather divert that money to service delivery. Now, it's the same thing, salary increases, monies that has been agreed without proper analysis of whether the city has the money to make these payments. And that is why yesterday we served the city with legal papers.
Belinda, residents, we are fed up with what's going on in Johannesburg. We've had enough because we want to see services. We want our water in that Brixton Tower. We want power. We want electricity, etc. Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana, he's hinted at national intervention. Is this the way to go? Is it time just to step in?
Look, the best way to we are very close to elections already. The only way to fix the city is to get the right people, the right, officials to do their job. There are the biggest problem we have in Johannesburg at the moment, firstly, is the instability and the fact that the smaller parties tend to wield quite a bit of will over what needs to get done. What you see in Johannesburg is people wielding power that didn't really get a full mandate from residents and holding the bigger parties to ransom. And I think the best way to handle that is to tell residents, and I'm going to say this again, when we get the opportunity to vote, make it clear, because really you cannot have a situation where these kind of agreements are forced through because the administration of the day is held ransom. If you don't do this, if you don't put the upper limits in, if you don't sign off the PFA, you are going to be voted out or face a motion of no confidence. This is the reality of what happens with all this instability. So it's simply saying, step in. We've already got the Johannesburg the presidential Johannesburg working group, and we've seen documentation where this working group has actually recommended that some of these things are not done, and first priority should be given to service delivery. So there are options that currently can help to assist. But the best assistance would be is if the voter give an opportunity and given outright, given outright a voice and not split their votes according to all these different smaller parties, which yield a lot of power and can hold service delivery to an extent to ransom.
Yep. Well, November is coming, or maybe later on after that. We don't have a date yet, but November is coming. And your vote, your choice. Belinda Kaiser Etcho Zonjoku, thank you so much, DA Johannesburg Caucus Leader.
702.
The Big Interview.
Well, we got big interviews this morning, and our second one, are we a safe country? South Africa is popping up on the lists of the safest countries in the world. That's if World War III breaks out. And there's been this big debate. If World War III breaks out, which hasn't happened in the Middle East yet, but it could become a wider conflict, where would you go if you're living there? Where's the safest place? And Fiji came out tops. Australia, New Zealand, and that's obvious because they're down under. Excuse the pun. But we, South Africa, have also come out tops as well. And joining us to discuss this is Dr. Yakisa Leah, who's from the board chair and head of the African Futures and Innovation at the Institute for Securities Studies. Hi, Doctor. Good morning. Good to have you with us.
Good morning, Ray. Thank you for inviting me.
All right. So are we safe? How safe is South Africa? I'm thinking they can still get to us, cyber attacks and other nasty things, but are we a safe haven?
Well, I think generally so. If you look at what's happening in Europe and Asia and elsewhere, South Africa is probably one of the areas that people are now looking to and sort of saying, well, it's probably not as bad as the South Africans consistently say that things are. I travel a lot. I was in Europe quite recently during for example, the Munich Security Conference, where the Americans again laid into the Europeans. And the sense of sort of angst in Europe is quite palpable. And of course, at the moment, what's happening in the Middle East does mean that South Africa appears to be much safer, and it is. I mean, we have fantastic weather. I think the economy and a variety of things have turned around, so things are certainly looking up in South Africa. So yes, let's hope that this leads to some more investment in the country.
Yeah, but we are still vulnerable economically, I suppose. We're looking at the rand to the dollar now. That's just shot up again this weekend. There's also oil. There's cyber attacks. I suppose proximity saves us, but we're still part of a bigger picture.
Yes, we are. And in some areas, we are going to benefit. A lot of traffic is going to come past the Cape of Good Hope. But of course, the oil price is going to spike. That's going to have a problem. And global growth is going to be impacted by what is happening. And when global growth goes down, growth in South Africa and internationally goes down, because we are increasingly a commodities exporter. And that's not good for South Africa. So, and I think the other thing that is of concern, particularly with the death of Terry Lekota, whom I knew quite well, was that our security establishment, intelligence, police, military, and so on, are all in a state of disarray. And I think what has happened in the Middle East points to the importance of getting a grip on institutions that are supposed to provide us with security. South Africa, with our rates of unemployment, inequality, we are potentially a volatile country. We need strong security institutions that are capable and effective and that have not been subject to political interference. And there, of course, there's a long road to travel in that regard.
Yeah. What about foreign policy, though? Because we've been friendly with Iran. We had those BRICS maneuvers recently. Foreign policy could also drag us into a wider, I wouldn't say conflict, but a wider situation.
Yes, we have a situation, there's an old saying that says that policy is not what you say, it's what you do. And the ideological orientation of the ANC's foreign policy has placed South Africa at risk. The relations we have with Russia and Iran and the way in which we have been played by both those countries has not done South Africa any good. We are in the sights of the U.S. administration. Trump is volatile, he's unpredictable, and he's a small-minded man who will reach out and could punish South Africa. So we really need to place our national priorities, which are development and growth, at the core of also our foreign policy. And that means stepping away from a foreign policy that is often driven, and domestic policy that is driven by ideological sentiment and not driven by national priorities.
Yeah, are we a safe haven? Dr. Yaki Salia, thank you so much. Always great to chat to you. Board Chair and Head of African Futures and Innovation at the Institute for Security Studies.
EWN Business.
Right, Matteo, well, something that is not a safe haven, emerging market currencies. And looking at what happened to the all share yesterday, the world really is in turmoil, isn't it?
Definitely, Ray. I mean, we've seen the rand quite strong for well over a year, but since the weekend and that start of that conflict in Iran, it's seen a lot of weakness. The sell-off in emerging market currencies deepened on Tuesday, with the currency gauge posting its worst session since 2023 and stocks falling as well. The MSCI Emerging Markets Currency Index, which measures a basket of currencies versus the dollar, weakened after the outbreak of that war in Iran. The index has fallen by more than 0.9%, and the market took a cautious approach to riskier assets like the rand and turned to the US dollar as a safe haven. Now, the US dollar index, which measures the value of the US dollar against 6 major currencies around the world, extended gains over the past 2 days. JP Morgan Chase are expecting weaknesses from the Hungarian forint and the Turkish lira, and also adding to that the South African rand and the Romanian leu. Higher energy prices due to escalating tensions in the Middle East have also added to inflation concerns in the market. So a lot of turmoil at the current moment, and that's why we saw the JSE also bleeding on Tuesday.
Nothing like a war to mess it all up. We were doing all so well until Saturday came along and it all changed now.
Yeah, the South African Reserve Bank always talking about risks and geopolitical risk, and we've seen them play out this time around.
Yeah, the markets?
Well, the JSE All Share was down 7,000 points. That's 5%. Yesterday, industrials down 2.8%. Banking stocks down by close to 4%. Mining shares taking the biggest hit, down 9.7% yesterday. Implats was down 17%. WPHO down 16.5%. Valterra, the platinum producer, down 12%. AngloGold was down 9.4%. Meager gains for Sasol. They were up 1%. Discovery up more than 0.5% as they release results. I'll give you those at 8:30. Now, looking at the rand, it's 16 rand 56. It's still doing quite badly against the US dollar this morning, weakening further at 19 rand 20 against the euro and at 22 rand 2 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $5,164 an ounce. It is a safe haven, so a lot of traders looking to gain some gains there, up 1.5%. Platinum at $2,138. Brent crude at $82.60 a barrel. More business after 8.
Thank you, Matteo. It brings us time to 7:31. This Eyewitness News brought to you by Bathroom Bazaar, pulling the plug on high prices. Right, Sofiso Zulu, a very sad story this morning.
That's right, Ray. Good morning. COPE leader and former ANC chairperson Mosiuoa Lekota has died. He was 77 years. He had been battling ill health and was in and out of hospital over the past year. COPE interim leader Tabo Bester has confirmed that Lekota died at his home overnight.
I need to confirm the sad news of the passing of our president, Lekota, around 3 a.m. this morning. And we are just waiting for the family. We will be meeting with the family this morning to talk about what needs to happen next.
The Mahindra Commission of Inquiry will make a ruling today on whether alleged political fixer Brian Mokgotsi is in contempt of a subpoena. Mokgotsi was due to appear before the commission on Monday. However, he called in sick. He later submitted a medical certificate that day, with the commission has taken into consideration. Tabiso Goba reports.
As the Mahindra Commission gets to the tail end of its work, more witnesses are conveniently falling sick before they have to testify. The commission spokesperson Jeremy Michaels recently told reporters it had remedies available to it for uncooperative witnesses.
The commission has the option to find that he is in contempt, and the commission will deal with that on Wednesday morning, depending on what transpires between now and then. But the commission does have the option of applying for a warrant of arrest for Mr. Mokgotsi, if that is necessary.
The commission resumes its hearings today, with head of organized crime at SAPS, Richard Shibiri, set to take the witness stand. Shibiri has been implicated by previous witnesses of trying to bribe police officers and being in the pockets of suspected cartel members Katiso Katie Molefe and Vusimuzi Kat Matlala. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
The failure of a bid by convicted murderer and rapist Tabo Bester to be moved from Bongani Supermaximum Prison has raised new questions about the readiness of his trial. The Pretoria High Court yesterday dismissed his urgent application to be transferred back to Kgosi Mampuru or any Gauteng facility, his second unsuccessful attempt. His lawyer argued that the January transfer disrupted trial preparations, particularly around electronic evidence, adding that they have not consulted with him since he was moved. His attorney, Inolofatseng Morero, says Ebongweni, more than 750 kilometers from Gauteng, makes meaningful consultation difficult because of time spent traveling and other costs.
I don't know if I could say with confidence that we are ready for pre-trial. I'm not even sure what we are going to say to the judge on the 18th about our readiness to proceed. I can't start consulting when a week before trial. When I go to court, I must be ready. I can't consult during trial. Testing the veracity of the state evidence must happen now.
And Qatar says it has dismantled 2 spy cells linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guards. The country's official press agency reported the news just after midnight after Tehran launched missiles and drones across the Gulf for a 4th day in retaliation for US-Israeli strikes. Qatari media says 10 suspects were arrested following close surveillance, 7 of them tasked with spying and gathering information about vital and military infrastructure in the country, and 3 were meant to carry out sabotage operations. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 24 and 26 degrees.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy delays along the R55. That's in the Kyalami Midrand area, right as you come out of Main Road. Please be on the lookout there. If you want to avoid this backup, you can still use exit route like Allendale Road as well as New Road while traveling on the N1 North. We've got some delays between the Baklu interchange and Allendale Road.
The top story this hour, COPE leader and former ANC chairperson Mosiuoa Lekota has died.
For mind-blowing bathroom specials, come to Bathroom Bazaar. Time for a new bathroom? Grab your corner bath, freestanding bath or built-in bath, any bath, at 20% off at the Bathroom Bazaar Bath Bonanza. That's right, 20% off all baths while stocks last. Visit our new store in Mokopane. That's P-I-Z-A-R-R-E. Come to Bathroom Bazaar. Come to Bathroom Bazaar. Pulling the plug on high prices.
Clement Mael.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
So your investigation is done on the SAPS officers, like Wally Rode, who's one of them?
Yes.
Will you be telling the public what the outcome of that investigation has been and whether or not the actions of Wally Rode were legal?
What we've done as IPIT, we've sent through the recommendations to SAPS, who is the employer, asking them to institute disciplinary action against their members because we felt that there was a case to answer.
When did you send the recommendation to the SAPS that they must take disciplinary action against their members?
It was sent last year.
When last year?
The date evades me for now, but it was sent last year.
Lizzie, shipping, IPIT spokesperson.
Clement Mael.
9 to 12 on 702.
From relaxing vacations to adventurous getaways, Southern Sun has the perfect destination for you. With their Sunbreaks promotion, you can save up to 20% on your next holiday. Rates start from just 1,375 Rand per room per night, including breakfast, of course, plus 2 kids stay and enjoy breakfast for free when sharing with up to 2 adults. The offer is valid for stays from the 27th of March to the 3rd of May, 2026. So book your holiday now at southernsun.com. Southern Sun Sunbreaks. More holidays, more memories, and T's and C's apply.
Different sounds, different worlds.
Different artistic expressions, music, art, and fashion collide. Are you coming? Let's go to the place where the beat drops, the fashion pops, and the art rocks.
We're talking Focalistic, Daliwonga, Mafigi Zolo, Kurt Darren, Matera Doughboy, Zoe Mudicha, Claire Johnston from Mango Groove, the Tswani Gospel Choir, and more. Mahindra Fusion Fest, Saturday 7th March, Sunbet Arena. Tickets on Ticketmaster now. See you there.
In business, sustainability should share dividends with more than just shareholders. Let's make ROI include a return on integrity.
Get financial solutions for environmental and social impact. With R&B, sustainability yields more than good intentions. T's and C's apply. R&B, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider.
702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Hey, Ray. Good morning, man. Just listening to your interview with the DA caucus leader in Johannesburg. I think you should have also, it's well and good for them to raise this issue of money not well spent. But you should have asked whether they're going to take the increase since they sit in council, or they're going to reject it, or are they going to take it and then ring fence it and do what they say it's supposed to be done, even though it's at a smaller scale. So yeah, I just wanted to find out, because they are rightly saying no, we can't increase people councillors' salaries, but they are there. Are they going to take it or not? Kiki.
Good morning, Ray. But the Belinda and the DA are not fair. I agree with them. They shouldn't get these increases. But the president, just before the budget speech, gave the politicians 3% increase. The president himself. And the DA never said anything because they're in a GNU. That's double standards. They never said anything because they're in a GNU. They've just got a salary increase in parliament, all the politicians, by the president, without consulting anybody. By the time we get the budget speech, they already have settled their matters. Now, because it's Johannesburg, they are up in arms. Let's be consistent. Just because DA is not running Johannesburg, they throw tantrums. But where they are, they don't throw tantrums. In the national government of national unity, they just got 3% and their salary increase have just increased. Let's be consistent at DA.
Morning, Ray. Trust you well, man. So here's a question. I was listening to your guest now about the councillors and the salary increases. If we now vote for new people that are interested in service delivery, will those salaries be reviewed?
That's a very good question. All right, just to answer the first bit there as well. The DA has indicated they don't want the salary increases. They don't want to take them. And in answer to, what should be a salary increase? And let's be honest about it. Inflation rate at the moment, memory serves me correct, we came in the last time at 3.4%. So most of the time, if, say, Amo, you and I get salary increases, the boss gets us in, and they most probably will give us an inflation-related salary increase of 3.4%. So you can bargain on this, but the increases that have been given to members of the city of Joburg are not 3.4%. They're quite massive, actually. So that's the big debate on that. So I suppose that does put to rest the matter of how much should your salary increase be. And yes, get a salary increase. Get a bonus, but only if you're doing well. You must be rewarded for it. Salary increases of inflation, I get that, because let's be honest about it, inflation goes up. And for those employers who don't pay any salary increases, I believe, and maybe you're not in that financial position, that you do need to take a long, hard look, because every year, day after day, every year, month after month, prices do go up, and that's the whole thing. Keep your WhatsApps coming, 072 702 1702.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question? Brought to you by Outsurance. It's your chance to win up to 3,000 rands in cash. First 1,000 rand for the answer, and then a little bit later on, I'll give away 2,000 rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save in your car insurance if you don't ask Outsurance for 500 rand. Right, we need to get ourselves an answer now. Sibusiso, hi, good morning.
Morning, Ray.
What is your answer then?
The answer is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Ooh, that's a good one. Nicely done, Sibusiso. A quote? Have you got a quote from Outsurance?
Yes, I do.
Lovely. You got 1,000 rands in cash on its way to you. There we go. Thank you, Sibusiso. That's a nice one. Okay. So the answer is Cristiano Ronaldo. I'll take the 9th caller this morning for 2,000 rand, courtesy of Outsurance in 702. We're asking you, what's the question?
EWN Sport.
Yo, Cindy, I know what I'm doing this afternoon. I've been watching. Yeah, I know. I've been watching quite a few of these games, and I thought India. I believed in India until they were beaten. And
yeah, by us.
Yeah, by us, yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's New Zealand. I've been watching them. They've been good and bad. I think their fielding needs a bit of, the catcher, but their fielding needs a little bit of work. But today's the day.
Today's the day. The Proteas are playing New Zealand in the T20 Cricket World Cup semi-final. And if I tell you that I am so unbelievably nervous, because you know what it is? It's just, you just don't know. Like, you saw how badly India did against us, and then they've walloped everybody else, and then there's been Zimbabwe's been did a couple of upsets, and you just never know on the day what's going to happen. But let's see. I hope it goes well, because the Proteas are the only side that's come through all the games unbeaten, and they are the favourites because they beat New Zealand by 7 wickets in the group stages. So yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, it's today,
and I just feel like a part of me always goes, whenever we say, oh, you're the favourites, you're unbeaten, you beat New Zealand by 7 wickets, I just, oh my gosh, it's the hope that kills you. But here's Captain Aiden Markram, who says that the squad has made his role easier.
I don't know, just really good teams around you, I suppose. Been very fortunate to lead some really strong teams, great mix of some younger guys with a lot of experience in the older guys, and you feed off the senior guys in the team, you lean on them a lot, they help guide you and lead you when you have a few doubts. I think because of that and a really strong group of players over the years, we've developed that, and fortunately it reflects well, but yeah, it's definitely a reflection on the group as a whole.
The game starts at 3:30 in the One Day Cup. The Lions are playing Northwest Dragons. Last night, the Warriors made it 2 wins from 2, beating Western Province by 5 wickets. Liverpool were undone by Wolves, losing 2-1. Andre with the stoppage time winner to keep Liverpool 5th on the table. Reds boss Arne Slot.
No, my expectations have changed throughout the season because I expected more from us than where we are fighting for now. It's another setback, and we didn't help ourselves with this result. Not at all. But there are still 8 games to play, so we're coming closer and closer to the end, and then dropping points in a game where it's absolutely not necessary if you look at the run of play.
Everton's up to 8th on the table after they beat Burnley 2-0. Sunderland beat Leeds 1-0. Bournemouth finished goalless with Brentford. Tonight, Arsenal's away at Brighton. City's hosting Nottingham. Newcastle hosts Man United. Villa against Chelsea. Fulham hosts West Ham. Kaizer Chiefs suffered a third Premiership League loss in a row, going down 1-0 to Richards Bay. Orbit College beat TS Galaxy 2-1. They're moving away from the drop zone. Stellenbosch and Siwelele goalless. There's 5 more games tonight with the leaders Orlando Pirates away at Polokwane City. Mamelodi Sundowns host Golden Arrows. The All Blacks have appointed Dave Rennie as head coach until after next year's World Cup. Rennie, who was Australia's worst performing coach, has been criticised for not being based in New Zealand, but he sees the positive of that.
I guess one advantage is players are going to have to earn the right to wear the jersey. I've sort of got no loyalties. I don't come from a team where I've had a lot of these guys previously, and I think that's really exciting. And we'll select based on form.
All Blacks' first game of the season is against France on July the 4th. Cindy Paluta. Cindy Paluta. Eyewitness News Sport.
For news on South African industry and mining, Creamer Media's Engineering News and Mining Weekly has you covered. Click through to Creamer Media's Engineering News each day for the latest on the people and companies shaping the energy transition and South African industry. Keep your finger on the critical minerals pulse by visiting Creamer Media's Mining Weekly. For deeper insight, subscribe to the Engineering News and Mining Weekly magazine, out on Fridays. Creamer Media, current, credible, comprehensive.
Hi, this is Teko Modise, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Be a winner who knows when it's time for a timeout and play responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No person under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
What do you call someone who thinks outside the box? Creative. But what about someone who codes the box, brands it, sells it, rebrands it, and leads a team that reinvents it? That's a Red and Yellow graduate. Apply now to Unleash Remarkable with Red and Yellow Creative School of Business, a member of Honoris United Universities.
EWN Traffic.
12 minutes to 8 o'clock. This EWN Traffic brought to you by Peugeot. Pretty tough. Amar, a smooth ride this morning?
Not at all, Ray. In fact, most of our listeners have been complaining about the delays on the R55. So this is just as you leave Midrand towards Blue Hills as well as Kyalami. The R55 stretch is heavily backed up all the way from Olifantsfontein Road towards Main Road. And then, of course, Olifantsfontein Road in itself, heavy delays between the R55 and the N1 exit. Obviously, peak time delays are causing these issues. Then if you're traveling in the Four Ways area, queuing traffic along Winnie Mandela Drive, this is between Ovidkappen Road and the N1 exit, and then in Kaya Sand, bumper-to-bumper traffic along Malibongwe Drive. In fact, a stop and go between South Africa Drive and the N1 exit. Speaking of those inner city routes, we've got delays as well in Rand Park Ridge along Beasodia Drive towards the N1. And then if you're heading towards Rand Park Ridge, do expect heavier traffic volumes on the N1 North because we've got an accident reported. It's right after 14th Avenue. It is causing delays along this route as you come out of 14th Avenue towards Bears Nodia Drive. More updates coming up. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
When your business needs strength, reliability, and serious capability, look no further than the Peugeot Professional Pickup range. Built tough for South African conditions, Peugeot pickups are engineered for fleets, professionals, and the agricultural heroes who keep this country moving. From a rugged load capacity to fuel-efficient performance, these pickups work as hard as you do. Whether you're building, delivering, or farming, Peugeot has a model that's ready for the job. job. Visit your nearest Peugeot dealership today and power your business with the confidence of a Peugeot professional. Landtrek, yeah, it's pretty but tough.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question? Of course, brought to you by OUTsurance. It's your chance now to win 2,000 rands in cash. You had to SMS out to 45142. You can save on your car insurance. If you don't ask for OUTsurance, ask them for 500 rands in cash. All right, so the answer was Cristiano Ronaldo. I said I would take the 9th caller. So there we go. Let's count up to 9, Mr. White. Let's go to Chantel. Hi, Chantel. If I said to you Cristiano Ronaldo is the answer, what then is the question?
Okay, the question is, what is the name of the soccer player whose 61 million euro left Middle East after a drone attack on Riyadh U.S. Embassy?
That's right. Okay, so are you a member of OUTsurance? Do you have a quote?
I'm a member.
You've won yourself 2,000 rands in cash. Chantal, well done. Congratulations. That's right. So Cristiano Ronaldo, they went and Iran, they launched some missiles against Dubai, and his plane, he just took off. This plane took off and flew away, and everybody else has been grounded. And there are all sorts of questions as, is this wealth privilege? Just because he's so wealthy, he can leave, and everybody else is there. So there we go. Well done to Chantal, winning 2,000 rands, courtesy of OUTsurance and 702. And if you know what's the question and you are perhaps wanting to enter, you can enter tomorrow at 072 702 1702.
You won't believe how much money OUTsurance saves 40-year-old Rafiq on his car insurance.
I saved so much money. 899. That's not small change. It's more than 50% that I saved from my previous insurer.
That's an impressive saving on Rafiq's 2017 Nissan Navara 4x4. And after 3 claim-free years, he gets an out bonus. How much money could OUTsurance save you? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
I heard she's got a recruiter team working 24/7.
Mm-hmm. That one, she has a secret supply of talent.
I knew it. She's definitely keeping a secret from us.
Nothing mysterious, guys. It's SA Youth, South Africa's largest youth online recruitment platform. Fast to post, effortless to use, and effective every time.
Recruit on the portal to potential. sayouth.co.za. Powering South Africa's youth workforce.
Did you know that you have the power to ensure your daughter is fully protected from cervical cancer when she grows up? Yes, protecting a daughter from cervical cancer is absolutely possible. And all that you need to do is ensure that your daughter gets the HPV vaccine at the age of 9. The HPV vaccine gives your daughter the best possible protection against cervical cancer and can prevent her from becoming part of the statistics. This message is brought to you by the Department of Health.
It's your last chance to save with the Checkers Extravaganza. Save extra on deals like Clover Butro Full Cream Modified Butter Spread 500 grams for $79.99. Nestle Mini Chocolate Fun Bags, any 2 for 89 Rand, save 45 Rand. And Baby Soft 2-ply White or Supreme Quilts Toilet Rolls, 18 per pack for $129.99. Valid until 8 March, only at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
On your next Money Show, we unpack the latest results from Woolworths and Cashbill to better understand what their numbers tell us about the state of your spending and our economy. Our shapeshifter, Akona Krenke, the general manager of KFC Africa, Business Unusual, Debbie Goodman, looking at a hidden bias behind algorithmic exclusion. Also, your consumer ninja, Wendy Nolet. And as always, expert analysis of the day's biggest business stories.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking. Refined performance is a measure of discipline. That's how we are invested in your story and why ABSA returned as a proud diamond sponsor for this year's Hedge News Africa Symposium and Awards Ceremony. ABSA is a registered FSP. T's and C's apply.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
Morning, Kabazela.
Good morning, Ray.
So, I love this first one. All about, it's an iPhone. What's that all about?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is one for the parents out there. You know, when your children start wanting things, and particularly name branded stuff because their friends have got it and all their peers at school have got it. How do you handle that? Because, you know, affordability comes into play for some of us, and that is a big factor, right? So this young boy, I would guess he's probably about 9, Ray, maybe 8 or 9 years of age, and he was very keen on an iPhone. Now, his mom buys him a phone, and it's a stylo phone, and it's a form of a smartphone that you can buy from Pep. And he opens this box, and he now thinks this is an iPhone. And the mom plays along, so let's take a listen.
It's an iPhone!
Yes, it's an iPhone!
Oh!
Mommy got you an iPhone!
Oh, no! I can't believe
An iPhone!
Sure. Yeah,
So
there's
he's
so many
very-
questions. Hey, so many questions.
Yeah, I mean, he's extremely excited, and he thinks he has an iPhone there. And look, she has posted some other videos, the mom, of his reaction when he eventually starts seeing that this is not an iPhone. And one of the things he says is, "Where's the Apple picture on the back of the
Oh, bust,
phone?"
Mom, you bust.
Yeah, and I mean, there she's busted. So, I mean, if any of our 702 family have a view on how she handled it, I'd love to hear that one. But when it comes to stuff like brands and all that kind of things that your children want, and you perhaps don't think at that age they deserve it, or, you know, you can't afford it, how do you handle it? And can you maybe remember back in your childhood days where you wanted something because your friends had, and, you know, your parents were like, "No, you're not getting that, and this is what you'll get instead." I remember, I don't know if you remember, there were these kind of skateboarder shoes. They were Gypsies, Adidas
Gypsy tackies. I remember
Yes.
those. Yes.
I so badly wanted a pair of those.
And?
No, I didn't get them. I got a very similar looking pair to them, and it was fine. I mean, I looked at my friends' pairs and I was like, you know, that's amazing. But I had to deal with what I was given, right?
Look, yeah. I mean, Kabazela, you always are going to have somebody in your class. I remember going to a school, and when I matriculated, everyone were given cars. My parents couldn't afford me a car. But I had people that were Golf GTIs and these, and I just thought to myself, I can't get it. My parents explained it to me, and I still loved them, and life was fine.
Yeah, and that's why you got such big calf muscles, right? Because you walked.
I still walk everywhere. They still can't afford it. I love it. Okay, speaking of cars, I left a note.
Okay, we got some time for that one as well. So let's be quick. This woman has a TikTok account, and she basically asks people to come forward with suggestions for their friends or family, and she will prank them. Now, this prank is a woman who was in a parking lot. She reversed and knocked a car in the parking lot, and was very polite. She left a note with her details, and off she went, because you're not going to wait there the whole time for somebody to arrive. So she left all her details and she left. Then this woman phones her with the prank. Let's take a listen.
Hello?
Hi, Skyla.
Yes?
Hi, Skyla. My name's Jen. I'm calling from the Vancouver waterfront. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We know you were here on December 6th. We have video footage of you hitting a parked car and doing a hit and run.
I left a note on their car, but I just never received a call back from them.
Yes, we are just calling to let you know that they are going to be suing you, ma'am.
They're suing me?
Yes, you did a hit and run, Skyla.
I left a note on their car.
I know, but you can't just hit someone's car and then leave a note and then expect everything to just be jolly after that.
Well, no, but when the person isn't around, you're supposed to leave a note with your information. I left them a note
I'm
with
pretty
my
sure you
information.
are supposed to report it as an incident and call the police instead, Skyla. You took the easy way out.
That's not what I was told, and I had asked people who were with me, and they recommended to me to leave a note.
Skyla, we're just giving you a courtesy call to let you know that you will be receiving a letter in the mail. They are suing you.
Gosh, I mean, that's like a prank. That's a prank gone wrong. I mean... Really?
Well, I mean, it's an incident that took place, and poor Skylar, she fell for the prank, and you can hear in Skylar's voice, she's quite taken aback and upset and concerned and worried. But I wanted to ask our 702 listeners, have you been in a situation in the parking lot where somebody has bumped your car? And these things happen because they're reversing or whatever it may be. Did the person wait for you? Did they leave a note with the correct details? And how did it play out? Did you contact them? Did they end up paying for it? Was it sorted with insurance? Or did somebody just bump your car and left?
Gosh, lots to talk about this morning. 072 702 1702. It's just gone 8 o'clock.
This is EWN.
COPE pays tribute to its leader Mosiuoa Lekota following his passing, and the placement of school children in Gauteng is now complete. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. COPE says the party's leader Mosiuoa Lekota will be remembered for his dedication and leadership. The party confirmed Lekota died at his home overnight. He was 77. Lekota had been battling ill health and was in and out of hospital over the past year. His political career effectively ended when COPE failed to make it back to Parliament in the 2024 general elections. Babalo Ndenze has more on the life and times of the struggle veteran.
Mosiuoa Lekota was always going to leave the political stage after the 2024 national elections, his swan song. However, also saw his party fail to make it back in Parliament. And while it was a bitter ending for COPE, this was a far cry from the life he led. Lekota was born in Kroonstad in the Free State, which he eventually left for his schooling. In the 1970s, then a student at Limpopo's University of the North, the man named Terror, due to his footballing skills, was expelled because of his involvement in politics. He eventually led the South African Students' Organization, which ultimately saw him and 8 others arrested for treason, which booked him a one-way ticket to Robben Island. It was here where he met Dr. Nelson Mandela and other political prisoners. During his stint in prison, Lekota abandoned his black consciousness posture in favor of non-racialism. Following his release, he joined the United Democratic Front and subsequently the ANC once it was unbanned. When the ANC came into power, he served it in government in various capacities, including as Premier of the Free State and Minister of Defense. A staunch ally of former President Tabo Bester, Lekota and other loyalists started an ANC breakaway party COPE in 2008, following the 2007 Watershed Polokwane Conference, which ushered in the rise of former President Jacob Zuma. The father of 7 spent time on the opposition benches and campaigned for his organization to make it back to the 7th Parliament, but this was not to be. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News.
The Gauteng Education Department has confirmed that it's completed placements for grades 1 and 8 learners. The total number for both grades in the 2026 academic year is almost 400,000. Outstanding placements were in Ekurhuleni, but all learners have now been placed. Gauteng Education Department spokesperson Steve Mabona.
The department wishes to express its sincere appreciation for the patience that has been shown by parents and guardians. MEC did indicate that the online admission system remains an important tool which will then ensure that all our schools accept children, as it were.
Member of Parliament Fidel Adams will take the hot seat today before the ad hoc committee investigating allegations of police corruption. Adams will respond to accusations of mishandling sensitive intelligence. Today will also see prosecutor Krishna Chetty give testimony about investigations as well as another public submission. Jabuli Lembata reports.
Fidel Adams, the leader of the National Coloured Congress and its sole MP, will take the witness stand today. Adams was implicated by Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi during his press conference last year of mishandling classified information. Mkhwanazi testified that Adams recklessly handled the intelligence when he used it to open criminal dockets at different police stations. Adams has refuted this, claiming the documents were slipped under his office door anonymously and that he reported the matter to the police. Adams will be the second member of parliament to take the stand after committee member and DA MP Diane Collar Barnard also responded to similar allegations. Another witness today is prosecutor Krishna Chetty, who was involved in a case involving fellow witness Paul O'Sullivan a few years ago. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News.
And Parliament plans to ask the Constitutional Court for another extension to finalise a bill that will encompass all marriages in South Africa. Following countrywide public hearings, it says it needs more time to process the submissions, with many provinces still strongly objecting to same-sex marriage, despite the Civil Union Act having been enacted almost 20 years ago. But there appears to be broad support for raising the legal marriage age to 21. Lindsay Dentlinger has the story.
In 2022, the Constitutional Court gave Parliament 2 years to remedy the Marriage Act and the Divorce Act because they failed to recognise Muslim marriages. While the Divorce Act has since been remedied, the Home Affairs Committee is still grappling with bringing all three acts governing marriages in South Africa under one law before the extended June deadline. With 1,760 submissions to the bill, largely from religious groups, Home Affairs Committee Chairperson Mosiuoa says more time is needed to process and respond to the views.
It won't be possible for the NSOP to conclude within that time frame because of our engaged work on the subject matter.
Parliamentary legal advisor Singisa Zanani says Speaker Toka Didiza has given the go-ahead to apply for a second extension.
So we are at the stage where we have issued the instructions to the state attorney and they are in the process of securing counsel to prepare the application.
An analysis of oral hearings showed the Northern Cape, Northwest, Free State, KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng appearing largely to be against the bill. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News. Parliament.
Gold is trading at $5,164.56 an ounce. The rand is at 16.59 to the dollar, 22.10 to the pound, 19.24 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $82.63 a barrel.
And in the traffic in Centurion, there's been an accident on the N1 South that happened right near the Brakfontein interchange. It's causing heavy delays. There's also queuing traffic on the N14 North in the city of Tshwane, heading towards Fountains, just as you approach Euphus Road.
And in your sport, it's semi-final time at the T20 Cricket World Cup today. The Proteas taking on New Zealand at 3:30. Wolves shocked Liverpool 2-1 last night, while tonight City, Arsenal and United are all in action. Kaizer Chiefs suffered a third straight league defeat, going down 1-0 to Richards Bay. And the All Blacks have appointed former Wallabies coach Dave Rennie as national coach.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 24 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. COPE says the party's leader, Mosiuoa Lekota, will be remembered for his dedication and leadership following his passing.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702 on 92.7 and 106 FM.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And on DSTV channel 856.
Ray in for Bongs this morning. It's just gone 8 minutes past 8 o'clock. Good to be in your company. Sure, waking up to the news this morning that Mosiuoa Lekota has passed away. Of course, he was the co-founder of COPE and defense minister between, I think, 1999 and 2008. He was the chairperson of the ANC. Your reaction this morning, your thoughts, your memories. I think he'll go down in history as one of the big heavyweights of South African history. What are your thoughts this morning? So talking about him, lots to talk about as well. We spoke to the DA just after 7 o'clock about the big salary increases for officials in the city of Johannesburg. Your reaction to that. We looked at South Africa being a safe haven. We've been considered as a safe haven as trouble breaks out or continues in the Middle East. And then Kabazela asking the question, have you had to be creative with the things your kids want? And he played a clip about a kid thinking that he had an iPhone, he had an something else, and talking about that. So have you had to be creative? Did you buy your kids the step down, the one thing that you could afford that looked very similar to the big item? And also, have you ever bumped your car and had to leave a note, or someone's left a note for you? What has been your experience? Lots to talk about this morning. 072-702-1702.
Good morning, 702 Landers. You know, when it comes to buying your kids stuff, I've had this conversation with with my son's mother, and I seem to think it's a good idea to buy him a PlayStation or an Xbox. He's 7 years old now. I'm thinking, why not? You know, she doesn't think it's a good idea. I feel like it is, because I know how we love these type of things. Growing up, I never got one. My parents never bought me one. In fact, the first time I got myself a PlayStation is when I got my first job. That's the first thing I bought with my with my salary. That's the first thing I bought for myself. So I thought to myself, look, why not?
Good morning, 702 team. I remember my daughter when she was 4. I got her a tablet. And when she realized that, because I was telling her to guess her gifts. So when we got to the tablet, I said, guess. And then she saw that it's a phone. And then she was like, it's an iPhone. And I said, no, it's a tablet. And then she was like, huh? And her face just died down. And in that moment, she changed. Her mood changed. She was unhappy. And I just told her that if we are not happy with this, we can always take it back and you can choose something within the same price range that I can buy for you, but I can't buy you an iPhone. And she had to sit with it. And then later on, she was happy with it. So, yeah, I know the peer pressure is a lot. And these kids don't even think about there is affordability that has to come into place.
You see, that's the thing. I mean, Mateo, a PlayStation at the age of 7, a tablet at the age of 4. I could see you shaking your head. At 7, are you ready for a PlayStation?
There's always pressure on the playground. I always say to my wife, because your kids come back from school and they say, I want this. It's definitely was driven by a conversation on the playground. Or maybe Timmy has something new and they also want that thing. You have to manage it because, guys, kids don't know what they want at that age, you know. They can't make you buy things that they will forget about in 2 weeks because you'll always just be buying the next big thing. I think there should be conversations about the affordability of things, even though you can afford them. I mean, I think what gets a lot of parents trapped is the fact that you didn't have certain things. Now you try to buy the rest of the world for your kids and you never really teach the lessons around earning those kind of things, and they'll then expect them as a matter of they're entitled to them. So I don't know if I'm just too tough a parent, but I don't think at that age any child should be getting electronics worth 20,000 Rand.
Sure. Yeah, keep your WhatsApps coming. 072 7021 702.
702.
More than a radio station.
Let's walk the talk.
Like I said earlier, waking up to the fact that we have lost Mosiuoa Lekota, and joining us is the ANC Secretary General, Vakile Mbulula. Secretary General, good to have you back on 702. Not under these circumstances. Very sad news.
Yes, indeed, Ray, and all your listeners. Sad news indeed. Life is precious, and terror, in no doubt. Lekota, condolences to his family, to his party, to his friends and comrades. Is somebody who indeed made a difference in our lives, in our country, politically. He indeed was an outstanding political figure in our country.
Yeah. Some of your memories of Mosiuoa Lekota. I know he had the nickname Terror, but that had nothing to do with terror. That was because he was a terror on the soccer pitch. But some of your memories.
Yes. He got that nickname in the soccer pitch. Memories. We can remember Terror as a leader in the United Democratic Front, in the mass democratic movement. We remember him as a leader in the African National Congress, in our body politic of our country, in democracy, in government, and as well as him lastly forming his own political party with his own comrades. So Terror is not somebody who was fearful of making a difference and standing in protest if necessary to articulate his views. May he soon rest in eternal peace. He will be remembered as somebody who was not shy of standing up for his views and making a difference.
Yeah. It must have been strange Mosiuoa Lekota going from being, I think he was the national chairperson of the ANC at that time, he was defense minister, then the end of Tabo Mbeki's government. It must have been strange to see him go over and co-found COPE. What was the relationship like then? Was there like an uneasy tension between ANC members and COPE members because you'd all been sort of the same team just months before?
Look, I have memories of that period because I was assigned by the ANC to head the elections at that time when Terra formed COPE. And it was a very, very, very strange moment in our body politic, especially from the side of the ANC, that top leaders like Terra in the ANC, who was our national chair, formed a political party to oppose the ANC. So in our DNA, it was very, very, strange. But at the same time, because it brought in a robustness in our political system, and something that we had to contend with, and we had to stand up and make it a point that our movement, the ANC, survived. So, I mean, Terra, brave as he was dynamic, thoughtful, but he was an organic intellectual, I dare say. He was a thoughtful thinker and a charismatic leader indeed. Yeah. And history will remember him, I think, fairly. And because not everything that has been done is inimical to our struggle. It shaped our body politic, shook it a bit, and but it was Mosiuoa Lekota, from the days of fighting apartheid to our days of liberation. When he felt something, it was not right, he stood up to it, and constructively so, I dare say, because he did not do anything outside the bounds of our of the provisions of our democratic system.
Yeah. SG, have you spoken to the family yet? What happens next?
No, I've not spoken to the family, and my condolences. I'm in Dar es Salaam. I'm in Tanzania. Right. Yes, and so, but definitely, we will convey our message. And should I come back during the week, I will go to see the family and convey formally our messages as the African National Congress. But I hope our comrades in the province of the Free State and the Free State government will go to see the family and convey the message and the African National Congress. But on behalf of the ANC, definitely when I come back, I'll make my way to go and see the family.
Yeah. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula, thank you so much for joining us on 702. And our condolences to you, your party and friends on the passing of Mosiuoa Lekota. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Right, so let's moving on now. Here's something to put on your social calendar. And talking about the Phelo, a mother's love, an art, food and wine experience. And on Friday, the 13th of March, 2026, at the Keys Art Mile Avenue, that's in Rosebank, a number of artists are set to show off their talent with a touch of fine cuisine. But the night comes with something more as well. It's about the children born with congenital heart defects. Thousands each year in South Africa, many needing specialized cardiac care that is in critical short supply in our country. Well, joining us is Nklamulo Tlakula from the Grateful Hearts Foundation. Nklamulo, hi, good to have you with us, and this sounds like a great initiative.
Hi, Ray. Thank you so much for having me.
Tell us more about what's happening.
Yes, so on Friday the 13th, as you mentioned, we are having an art, food, and wine sensory experience at the Keys Art Mile, which is really, really at the center of Johannesburg's contemporary art scene. And we have a number of phenomenal artists that are featured at this exhibit. Sam Ntlengetwa, Katlego Tlabela, Boemo Diale, a long list of very prominent South African artists who have been so generous in partnering with us to ensure that we are raising funds towards our mission as the Grateful Hearts Foundation, which is really to train the next generation of pediatric cardiothoracic surgeons. And that is through our partnership with Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital.
Now, for you, this is personal as well. Take us through your experiences because, to coin a phrase, this is also close to your heart.
Absolutely. So, Ray, when I fell pregnant with my daughter in 2019, I went for my anatomy scan with my husband, and we were super excited to welcome a baby into the world. And I remember our OBGYN saying, I think we need to have you see a cardiologist, a pediatric cardiologist. And I went, and at 25 weeks pregnant, I was told that my daughter had a complex congenital heart defect that would require 3 open heart surgeries before the age of 2. And essentially was advised to terminate my pregnancy. And I was pretty far along, so you can not to become quite, visual about the idea, but I would have had to deliver her and have palliative care essentially. And I decided at the peak of the pandemic to fly to the US because the doctors had essentially said, unless you can get to Boston Children's Hospital, we recommend that you terminate your pregnancy. And I got onto a flight and I went to the US and I was able to have her there. And she did have her 3 open heart surgeries. And now she's a bubbly 5-year-old girl. But once I started going down that path, I started reading a lot of medical journals. And, I had privilege of being able to travel. And a lot of South Africans do not. And I spoke to many doctors and found out that, especially in the public health care space where, that services 75% of our population, a lot of kids end up dying waiting because, one, we only have 40 pediatric cardiologists for the entire country, and we only have 9 cardiothoracic surgeons in the entire country.
Gosh. That's shocking. So, that really is shocking.
It really is. And so you end up having so many children, little babies, dying waiting over, a congenital heart defect, which could have been solvable. So our mission as the Grateful Hearts Foundation is to fund the training of more doctors through Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital.
And of course, if you go this Friday the 13th, I'm sorry it's Friday the 13th, but Friday the 13th at the Keys Art Mile Avenue, Rosebank, you can support this, which I think is a great way to spend your Friday.
Yes, and so everyone just go into Hala, search Billo, or follow our page, GHF_Africa, and you'll find the ticket link in bio. We have sponsorship by Graham Beck, by Kamusha Wines, delicious food by Lady Day. It is really art with purpose, going towards a really amazing mission. So buy your tickets, they're limited, and we're almost sold out, and it's really promising to be a really, really purposeful and good time.
Very nice. Thank you so much, Klamulo Klakula from the Grateful Hearts Foundation. There we go. That's next Friday. That's Sapelo, a Mother's Love curated art, food, and wine experience. And it's at the Keys Art Mile Avenue in Rosebank, Johannesburg. And you can get your tickets available on Howler at the moment. So get on down there. It's a really, really great initiative.
EWN Traffic.
8:23 is the time. This EWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You can save on your car insurance if you don't ask them for 500 Rand. Right, delays in Kelvin, Amo.
That's correct, Ray. Along the N3 North between Marlborough Drive and the Baku interchange. Marlborough Drive in itself is backed up towards the N3. And then traveling on the Mike 1 South, expect delays between the Baku interchange and Marlborough Drive. While heading towards Sandton, we've got delays. A stop and go on the M1 North between Harton Drive and Grayston Drive. There's also peak time pressure reported on the M2 West heading towards the Joburg CBD. This is between Hardwick Road and the Crown Turnoff. It could take you about 30 minutes at this point to reach the Joburg CBD. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car on the way to the hospital, carrying an elderly couple, playfully bantering about who their first grandchild will look like. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's bringing 2 generations together. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance Pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
The Worldview.
With Vicky Turner standing in for Adam Gilchrist this morning. Vicky, hi, good morning. Right, this Operation Epic Fury continues. And listening to sound bites by Donald Trump, he hasn't been very complimentary with the UK, has he?
No, it was always, I think, a bit of a precarious relationship between Donald Trump and Sir Keir Starmer. It felt a bit like the school bully getting on with the computer geek. And now Donald Trump has sort of come out and said the UK is not being very helpful. And he has blamed Sir Keir Starmer directly, calling him no Winston Churchill, which I think will hurt Keir Starmer a little bit. This is because, of course, the UK has refused at the moment, and I put that caveat in there, to get involved in the offensive against Iran. Now, I say we're not involved, but we have actually allowed the US to use for defensive purposes, of course, two of our air bases, Diego Garcia and RAF Airford in the UK. But that's not good enough for Donald Trump. He wants more, and he's sort of said to Keir Starmer, I've got better relationships now with the French and the Germans than I do with you. Although I think we should caveat all of this because next month, King Charles will be out in America for a 3-day visit. And if there's one thing we know Donald Trump loves, it's our royal family. And I think as soon as King Charles is out there, President Trump will be all over him, telling him how much he loves the UK, how much the special relationship means.
Gosh, this really is getting quite complicated, I must say. Right, Cristiano Ronaldo's in a bit of hot water at the moment. He was jet left, that is. He's jet left as the missiles were flying, and all sorts of questions about the rich. Why are they getting preferential treatment?
I think everyone's asking that. I think there are a lot of rich people stuck in the UAE because, of course, it is a tax haven. Cristiano Ronaldo was out there for different reasons. Sort of. He was out there to play football for a UAE club. He left, like you said, on his £61 million, I can't believe that,
wow.
Jet, which departed Saudi Arabia in the middle of the night. We know that it landed in Madrid, and we know that he was on there with his wife and his children because his wife was busy posting pictures on Instagram. He is lucky, like you said, he is one of the very, very rich people, so he was able to leave. I'm sure there are plenty of South Africans out there. I know we've got something like 300,000 Brits out there. Our first repatriation flights are taking place today. It was interesting, though, reading this about Ronaldo. It does show that money can buy you privilege. Ronaldo currently earns, get this, £488,000 per day.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Lucky, lucky, lucky. All right, I love your third story. It goes something like this. Ooh, you look really nice. You look really young, but, oh, look at your ears. It's all about the ears, isn't it?
I've got mine covered up today because it is. It's all. I think first of all, it becomes about your eyes, so you start using a lot of moisturizer. Then it becomes about your neck, so maybe you have a neck lift or a bit of Botox in your brow or something like that. But experts are saying it's actually your earlobes which give away your real age because they contain no cartilage or structural support. They just rely on a soft tissue and being youthful. So if you look at someone's ears, if they're sagging a bit, their earlobes, if they're a bit droopy, a bit longer than they used to be, that's an indication of their real age because very few people, some, but very few people get them surgically enhanced. I mean, can you imagine going in and saying, I'm looking a bit old, my earlobes are a bit droopy, lift them up for me, please.
It's such a strange world that we live in. Vicky Turner, thank you so much. In for Adam Gilchrist this morning.
EWN Business.
Right, Mateo, Nedbank pushing forward. They've got 8 million users for the first time. That's impressive.
Definitely impressive for Nedbank for that period. Nedbank has increased its dividend for shareholders despite taking a 600 million rand hit because of that Transnet settlement in 2025. The lender declared a final dividend of 11 rand per share. The Green Bank has reported a marginal 2% growth in headline earnings per share for the year ending in December. Our profits are up 2% to 17 billion rand. The country's fourth largest bank by assets has increased its client client base, reaching 8 million users for the first time in its 138-year history.
Wow, that's a lot. It really is. Okay, so they aren't alone. Discovery posting solid numbers as banking and insurance businesses there improve. Good for them as well.
Yeah, the insurance and banking business are pushing Discovery at the moment. Headline earnings there rose 29% to 5.7 billion rand. They also are forecasting a good economy going into 2026. I wonder if they still hold that view, given what's happening in the rest of the world. Profit attributable to ordinary shareholders rose 5.7 billion rand from 4.4 billion, while the group's normalized return on equity also improved 17% from 15.4%. Discovery shares up 1% yesterday on the JSE at 260 rand a share.
Right, what is happening in the rest of the world? I'm worried about today after yesterday's. I can only describe it as a bloodbath in markets.
Yeah, it's really that bloodbath has continued, and it's because, of course, of that Iran bombing, as well as that rest of the region, really the Arabian Gulf coming under fire. Industrials up 2.8%. Financials were up 3.9%. Banking stocks were down 10% yesterday on the JSE. Some of the biggest losers included Implats. They were down 16%. Northam down 13%, with platinum producer Valterra down 12% yesterday. So a real bloodbath on the local market. Some weakness as well for the rand, down 0.5% now against the US dollar at 16 rand 62. That's because a lot of traders are viewing the US dollar now as a safe haven and moving away from emerging markets like the rand. 19 rand 27 against the euro, 22 rand 12 cents against the British pound. Price of gold is up more than 1% at $5,144 an ounce, while platinum is at $2,122. Brent crude also going up at $83.30 a barrel. That's your business this morning. Stephen Grotes with more this afternoon.
Lovely. Great to have you back, Mateo Kharipe. It's just gone 8:30 to Safiso. Tributes now pouring in for the late Mosiuoa Lekota.
That's right, Ray. Good morning. One of those is from former Finance Minister Tabo Mael, who's described the late Cope founder Mosiuoa Lekota as a great friend and comrade. Lekota died at his home in the early hours of this morning. He was 77. Manuel says he last saw Lekota 2 weeks ago when he was in ICU.
And so it's been a brave and long battle. Completely a man of his word. Delightful character. A great friend and comrade. And I'm saying that his departure leaves a major vacuum in so many lives.
The N2 South in KwaZulu-Natal has been closed off to traffic after 2 security officers were shot during a crash in transit heist this morning. Paramedics say a helicopter has been sent to airlift the victims to hospital. ALS paramedic spokesperson Garrett Jameson says medical personnel are still on scene.
The Neki 911 aeromedical helicopter has been called to assist with the rapid transportation of the security official to a level 1 hospital for the further care that he requires. Further updates are to follow.
450 adults and an unconfirmed number of children face eviction after the city of Tshwane secured a court order to remove them. The group has been living in a hazardous building near the Steve Biko Academic Hospital in Gezina. The building has caught fire twice and was declared unsafe for human stay by the city. Dimakatso Leshuru has the story.
A demolition process by the city is currently underway at the compound where the building is located. In the vicinity are 12 other buildings and several erected shacks. Yesterday, the Pretoria High Court heard that the condemned building is a health hazard and a ticking time bomb. Inside, it's infested by rodents and has no electricity or running water. Officials say they want to avoid a possible tragedy similar to the Usindiso building fire in Johannesburg, but residents are not happy. They say being moved to a site with tents is even worse than their current situation. They have been given 7 days to vacate before authorities enforce the order. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
And Health Minister Arun Motsoaledi says he hopes to have more definitive answers by the end of the week about recent research on women's sanitary products. Recent data released by the University of Free State suggests many popular products contain harmful chemicals. But responding to the concerns in the National Assembly yesterday, Motsoaledi called for calm. He says the disrupting chemicals allegedly found in the sanitary products are also commonly found in food and everyday household products such as toiletries and cosmetics. Motsoaledi says the findings of the study need further analysis.
What we have done, we have brought scientists together to tell us exactly what is the meaning of this study. And before the end of this week, we'll call a press conference to understand. But I just wanted to know that everything you have eaten today contains these products.
The National Consumer Commission has also launched a probe. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 24 and 26 degrees.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North. This is between the Elands interchange and the Geldenhuys turnoff. There's also slow-moving traffic on the M1 North between the Kilani Bends and Grayston Drive.
The top story, the SAWA. Former Finance Minister Tabo Mael has described late COPE leader Mosiuoa Lekota as a great friend and comrade.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays
12 to 1.
Loyiso Masuku, that is the ANC United in Joburg.
Mandy, the ANC remains the center. There are no two centers. The African National Congress is the center. Comrade Dada Morero is a deployee of the African National Congress. I am also a deployee of the African National Congress. The conference was a period where we had to go and deal with policy issues, where we had to go and renew our mandate in terms of leadership. That has come and gone.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Make 2026 your year for personal growth. Apply now for the mid-year intake of either the Master of Business Administration or the Postgraduate Diploma in Business Administration programs at Wits Business School. Their MBA and PDBA programs will equip you with the critical thinking and leadership skills necessary to face the challenges of the evolving world of work and business. Applications are now open for the July intake and close on the 30th of April. So visit wbs.ac.za for more information. Wits Business School, sculpting global leaders.
Hey guys, this is Robert Marawa, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Playing responsibly is part of the winning strategy. Make smart choices and continue to score. If you or someone that you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Good morning, Ray, Paul in Randfontein. Regarding Ndate Mosiuoa Lekota, I really enjoyed his politics, trusted his politics to a great deal. I remember him very well as a person, one of the earliest voices against the presidency of the successor to Thabo Mbeki, a certain JZ. He's one of the earliest people that opened my eyes to what was to happen, even for that matter. I think that was his reason of leaving the ANC and starting his COPE party, his mistrust of Jacob Zuma and the people he had surrounded himself with.
Do you remember, and you strike home such a good point, do you remember Mosiuoa Lekota? Jacob Zuma was president at the time. And there were all sorts of accusations against Zuma. Mosiuoa Lekota, he stood up in Parliament and he just wanted to speak. They couldn't quieten him. He just wanted to speak.
May I please state my point of order? May I simply,
Honorable Lekota, please take your seat.
my point of order. You may rule against it, but I want to state it. And you can rule against it.
Honorable President, please take your seat. President.
Madam Speaker, the Honorable President has already admitted before our nation in the Constitutional Court that he broke his oath of office. No, I must say this. He broke his oath of office. He broke his oath of office. He is no longer honorable. He is not
Honorable Lekota. Honorable Lekota.
No,
Honorable Lekota, that's not a point of order.
We cannot listen to somebody who's broken his oath of office.
That is not a point of order, Honorable
Sit here
Lekota.
and listen to him. He is no longer fit to lead our people.
Honorable Lekota, will you leave the chamber?
Point of order.
Excuse me?
Will you leave the chamber?
If you are saying,
because that is not a point of order.
That's a point of order.
It's not.
His oath of office.
That is not a point of order. It has nothing to do with the proceedings of this sitting.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We will not listen to somebody.
So you are free to leave the chamber.
Thank you.
It really was a point of order, and some brave people like Mosiuoa Lekota stood up and said, we will not be quiet. What's going on in our country with state capture and the shenanigans around the Zuma government was not in order. That there was Mosiuoa Lekota.
EWN Sport.
Cindy, today. You know what? Just go through Proteas, win this, win the final, and get rid of this hoodoo. Just do it.
Yeah, let's hope so. Big challenge for the unbeaten Proteas. It's the semi-finals, the T20 Cricket World Cup. They're battling the unpredictable New Zealand. New Zealand captain Mitchell Santner on playing South Africa.
They're playing some very good cricket, as they've shown throughout this tournament. I guess the only unbeaten team, and we've been playing some decent cricket as well. So I guess it's whoever turns up on the day tomorrow, whoever assesses conditions the best they can. We know South Africa are going to be a threat, and we're just going to go out there and try, put some pressure on them at different stages of the game, and they're going to do the same for us. So it's, I guess you're not quite there, especially not quite a final, but it's still a massive game.
It all starts at 3:30 and the winner will play either India or England in the final. In the One Day Cup, the Lions are playing Northwest Dragons later. It's tied to the top of the Betway Premiership, only goal difference separating Sundowns and Pirates. Pirates are playing Polokwane tonight and Sundowns take on Arrows. That's 2 of 5 games. Last night, Chiefs lost to Richards Bay 1-0, their third league loss in a row. TS Galaxy lost to Orbit College 2-1, Stellenbosch and Siwalele goalless. The top 5 teams in the Premier League are in action tonight. Arsenal are at Brighton, City host Nottingham Forest. Man United travel to Newcastle. Aston Villa goes head-to-head with Chelsea and Fulham will host West Ham. Last night, Liverpool were stunned by bottom-of-the-table Wolves. Wolves pulled off a 2-1 win, Andre with a stoppage-time winner. Everton beat Burnley 2-0. Leeds lost to Sunderland 1-0. Brentford goalless with Bournemouth. In the All Blacks appointed Dave Rennie as head coach until after next year's World Cup. Rennie on what the All Blacks have to do to win that World Cup.
And it'll take a hell of a lot of work. It'll take a lot of alignment. It's a sprint from here. By the time we start, we'll have about 15 months to a World Cup, and well aware that the way the draw works out in typical fashion in a World Cup, likely to meet South Africa in the quarterfinals. So we'll get a bit of practice against them this year.
The All Blacks' first game of the season is against France on July the 4th. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Are you looking for the best spectacle and sunglass deal? With Specsavers buy one, get one offer, you get great value for money. Get a free pair of branded single vision prescription sunglasses up to 3,300 Rand. When you purchase a comprehensive eye examination and spectacle frames with lenses on your first pair. The best part? Choose from top brands like Police, Hugo, Under Armour, Tommy Hilfiger, Red Bull Spect and more. Affordable eye care? Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
In business, sustainability should share dividends with more than just shareholders. Let's make ROI include a return on integrity.
Get financial solutions for environmental and social impact. With RMB, sustainability yields more than good intentions. Trees and Cs apply. RMB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider.
EWN Traffic.
It's almost 9:15. Amo, it's been a very busy morning this morning. There were problems in Kelvin. What's happening?
Well, Ray, we still have got delays reported in the Kelvin area right as you approach the Bakru interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the M1 South. This is coming out of the Bakru turn off towards Marlborough Drive. While traveling in the Germiston area, which is, I think, what is the hottest spots this morning, we've got delays on the N3 North between the Airlines interchange and Van Buren Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N17 due to roadworks that are taking place right near Osborne Road. And then if you are heading towards the Melrose area, do expect delays on the Mark 1 North. An accident reported right near Caller Drive. It is causing delays coming out of the Kilani Bends. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Without insurance, saving on your car insurance feels like hitting every green robot on your way to work. 35-year-old Zanai saves a whopping 1,180 Rand on her 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA. Get a quote now, and if insurance can't save you on any money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you're being claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Get savings or cash, SMS out to 45142 now. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer, and FSP, T's and C's, and information online.
Buy any Hills pet food and you could win one of 10 holidays worth 200,000 Rand each. Or take the bucks. Scientifically proven formulas for your pet. An adventure for you. Hills Pet Nutrition. Science does more. T's and C's apply.
Need a seat? Try 7 or 5, it's your call. Want a sunroof? Make it a panoramic. Gotta have power? How does award-winning 138 kilowatt sound? The Changan CS75 Pro is big enough for the kids, smart enough for your playlist, and stylish enough for your Friday night too. Why settle when you can have it all without compromise? The Changan CS75 Pro. Drive tomorrow's SUV today. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more.
Changan, driven to evolve.
Coming up
On the Clement Mael Show
on 702.
So, Clement, this morning about just 6:30, I heard Sofiso and Eyewitness News break the news that Mosiuoa Lekota has passed away. I've been waiting for you to come into the studio because this is something that you do. You've spoken to him so many times. You've lived everything. What went through your head when you heard that news?
It's so sad, Ray. Good morning. He's been sick for a while, hey?
Yeah.
In fact, he had promised to come on my show on the SABC. Must have been either early last year or late 2024. And he said that's going to be like the last interview that I'll do because I had been speaking to him for a while. But he's been sick for quite a long time. And it's just so sad to see that, he has now passed, and condolences to his family and friends. But I was reflecting on the conversations I've had with him, even in the past. You haven't really covered politics if you haven't fought with the politicians you report about.
Yeah.
And there was a time when he just felt like I was trying to destroy his political career.
Oh, no.
It happens when you report about the divisions and whether he's taking the right decisions for COPE at the time. And there was unhappiness about what I was reporting about. But that's never stopped us which is why even after the fights, he would still say, I'm willing to come on the show.
And that's big. That's very big.
Yeah, and also that's a man who has contributed immensely to the liberation of this country. And whether you agree or you disagree with him, you at the very least have to give him credit and appreciate his efforts.
Yeah. We saw so many prominent ANC politicians go in other directions after the end of Tabo Mbeki's presidency. And I can't sort of help but thinking that they should have played a bigger role, I think, in shaping our country, shaping where it is now. Because all due respect to COPE, but they're the number what party at the moment? You see what I'm saying? It's these guys.
What's that party? What?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly,
I don't know.
Exactly. And I'm sorry, Mosiuoa, because you're looking down at us and you're going like, "Come on, guys, really, seriously?"
No, I think he's looking down and saying, "Yeah, you guys are right."
You're right, yeah.
And I mean, I think I'm sure we'll probably have a book, or I mean, I would like to read more about what his reflections have been, even on the decisions that he had also taken around this organization, and whether they worked or whether they contributed to the destruction and the erasure of the party from the political scene. But that's something to look ahead to. But yeah, that's just sad news to receive this morning.
Absolutely.
About Mosiuoa.
What else you got?
So we're going to be looking at that on the open line. And then we also I want to give the listeners some feedback. Yesterday I interviewed the IPID spokesperson because we wanted to understand why the Phala Phala report was classified to begin with. And she gave us some contradictory information, making some claims about them taking this decision because they didn't want to prejudice the Hawks investigation. So I've gone to the Hawks to ask, were you guys concerned about your investigation being prejudiced by IPID to a point that they would classify the report? And they've come back to me to say, not really.
Yeah, I thought so.
So I want to give the listeners some feedback on that. I will speak about Dean McPherson as well on the open line because he took his partner to Brazil.
Yes.
Why? The DA was so angry when Malusi Gigaba, Stella Ndabeni, and other ANC ministers were busy traveling with their partners on work trips. Why is the DA doing that? And then at 10 o'clock, we are going to speak to the French ambassador to South Africa, Lesotho, and Malawi. He's coming to studio, David Martino. There's a lot to talk about, especially the geopolitical repositioning. And then we wrap up the show at 11 o'clock with the Listener's Choice feature. Today, we've been asked by one of our listeners to discuss Iran's proxies. What are they? Why were they formed? And what's their role in the current war unfolding in the Middle East?
Sure, that's quite a show coming up. That's the Clement Mael show between 9 and 12.
So you thought you were building a business in this economy, but day by day, somehow it grew. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore, it's who you are, and you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
In business, the right connections change everything. It's the stability you need for that once-in-a-lifetime virtual pitch, the lightning-fast speeds that keep you ahead of the deadline, and the consistent high-quality signal your teams rely on every day, because when your connectivity works seamlessly, so does your business. Power your workday with fast, reliable fiber from OpenServe, built to keep your operations running at full speed. So visit openserve.co.za today to learn more. T's and C's apply.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
8 minutes to 9 o'clock, and today on Corporates That Care, we're chatting about how Mahindra South Africa is living its RISE philosophy. Well, this is to empower communities and the youth, of course, from the nationwide Mahindra Fusion Fest, which I'm loving, to supporting girls through the Ruta Sechaba Foundation, Literacy for Life, and the RADA partnerships. Mahindra is giving young people platforms, and joining us is CEO Rajesh Gupta. Rajesh, good to have you with us. It really is lovely to have you in the studio. Explain, okay, let's put you on the spot. Explain why you're a corporate that cares.
First of all, I would like to congratulate Prime Media for such a wonderful initiative, because speaking about what corporates are doing to care about what world should need is a very great initiative. Having said that, coming from Mahindra, the basic upbringing of the core purpose of Mahindra itself is residing on a core fact of RISE. We speak about RISE as our core purpose, and this corporate has been working on this aspect in a multiple dimension. And in that sense, it says that if you enables others to rise, you rise, and that's being tagged as #TogetherWeRise. And that's how we stand for everything that we relate with. It is a deeper integration about sustainability, our commitment towards the communities, and empowering people to drive positive change. That's how this company has been thought, and I've been in the system since last over 15, 16 years. So it has got ingrained. Now, as I relate with what we have done in South Africa, it's almost last 22 years I've been here in this country, and we are having a deeper plans to make it as our second home. We've been working very significantly.
Nice.
And calling it a home can only happen when you start becoming part of the communities, when you start connecting with them. And we very, very carefully have selected our dimensions on those pieces. So as you speak about, our focus always remains on the pieces which actually creates access, tools, and the wellness, right? So the initiatives that you just spoke about, which is about education and long-term support, which is Ruta Shoshaba Foundation.
Yeah.
It's very close to my heart. Adopting a group of girls, helping them succeed through, not only by supporting in terms of the means which they need, stationery, laptops or something, but taking care for a longer period of time in a sustainable manner is one of the idea.
Yeah.
We do work with literacy and foundation phase, so where we have organizations like Literacy for Life, which we keep on supporting through various, early childhood development efforts, which they try and do. From an health and dignity, RADA partnership, which is again is very close to my heart. Hearing that there are so many people or girls who are deprived of the basic hygiene facilities and supporting on that cause becomes a very important factor, which becomes a core aspect of care.
Yeah. Rajesh, if I could come in here, I mean, these are great CSI projects. They really are. A lot of thought, hasn't it, has gone into them to the things that you're naming. These are the problems that South Africa have. And you're at the forefront of this. I'll ask you that first question. Why are you a corporate that cares? I think you've answered it.
Yeah, in a way, yes. But, this is just a part of it. We do believe in kind of, making it much more meaningful. The idea goes further, supporting, various employee-led initiatives where employees do come to the play and they put their efforts in terms of, developing certain. So there are examples where we have also participated in improving the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Our partnership goes beyond these pieces. We have got into partnership with Sorai. Sorai is an NGO working for saving the rhinos, which is a very serious problem, a social problem here. So working very closely with people in Sorai, Kevin Peterson and all, we have taken this as a particular cost to us. And that becomes very important factor.
Yeah.
We have also taken a cause of supporting budding cricketers and soccer players and the players in the rugby.
This is massive.
So which is also a factor, but very, very significantly placed, where we take the dimension of care to a ultimate height, is what we will be doing again in the second time on Sunbet Arena on 7th of March, which is Mahindra Fusion Fest.
Yes.
And the idea which we have developed is coming from Together We Rise. It is a celebration of music, fashion and art. It also speaks about budding artists, because we'll be honoring multiple budding artists on that night from various genres. But the idea of care and sustainability is not minus these factors which cumulatively connects the community and gives an empowerment to grow in the world as we move forward.
Rajesh, how do you tie this all together, though? I mean, this is so vast, from sanitary pads to rhino. You must have a very vast team working on this.
We have a very small team.
Really?
And, the team which is behind it is seriously devoted towards it. Addressing multiple facets is where the word care goes into. Your idea of a brand which is resonating with masses in the country, you have to be socially responsible. You should be resonating where the care is needed. And when you say that this is my second home, actually we'll stop using word second home.
It's your home.
It's my home.
Yeah.
And when it is my home, anything which happens in home is part of my responsibility. And that is what I consider as being a socially responsible corporate brand.
Yeah.
So I feel very, very convinced that the pieces that we are knitting now will bulldoze into a much bigger momentum as we grow in the country. And we will make a very meaningful dialogue with the local communities in the country. And this is what we will stand for, beside what the products we offer.
Exactly. Now, of course, there's that as well. Business is business. But what's the role been of government? And I know with our president, Cyril Ramaphosa, he has called on the private sector to play a role. Are you talking to government yet to say, okay, we're putting our hands up?
Yes, we do. We do have a plant in Durban, which is the biggest SKD plant in the country. We do play our role in offering the employment. We do play a role in further industrialization. We do play a role in increasing the skills and training through our training centers. And we do feel that this is one country where everything is designed to make the ease of business much more comfortable compared to many countries in the world. The way people in the government are, they are always looking for an opportunity to support a corporate which is committed towards this country. Last year in Fusion Fest, we have Honorable Deputy President participating into it.
Sure.
He did make a statement that this is a kind of a cultural revolution in the country, because Fusion Fest bring everybody together.
It really has. Yeah.
I think there is a very high degree of resonance towards it. They value our partnerships.
Yeah.
They're looking forward of what Mahindra will do further. We're keeping our finger crossed to get into the CKD manufacturing soon. So you will see increasing role of ours into the entire scheme of things.
I could speak to you all day long, but we're unfortunately out of time. So, Rajesh Gupta, thank you so much, Chief Executive Officer of Mahindra. Thank you so much for coming in. Good to chat to you and good to meet you in person as well.
Thank you, Ray. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
And that wraps up our time together. So much to talk about on 702. And I'm sure Bongs will be back with you bright and early tomorrow morning between 6 and 9 o'clock. Time for your latest Eyewitness News.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula has joined tributes for the party's former chairperson, Mosiuoa Lekota, following his death. Lekota died in the early hours of this morning at his home after a long illness. He broke away from the ANC to form COPE in 2008. Mbalula has praised Lekota for being bold and courageous.
Just not somebody who was fearful of making a difference and standing in protest if necessary. To articulate his views. May he rest in eternal peace. He will be remembered as somebody who was not shy of standing up for his views and making a difference.
The Gauteng Education Department has confirmed that it's completed placements for grades 1 and 8 learners. The total number for both grades in the 2026 academic year is almost 400,000. Outstanding placements were in Ekurhuleni, but all learners have now been placed. Gauteng Education Department spokesperson Steve Mabona.
The department wishes to express its sincere appreciation for the patience that has been shown by parents and guardians. MEC did indicate that the online admission system remains an important tool which will then ensure that all our schools accept children, as it were.
Member of Parliament Fidel Adams will take the hot seat today before the ad hoc committee investigating allegations of police corruption. Adams will respond to allegations made by KZN Provincial Commissioner Nhlanhla Intelligence. Today will also see prosecutor Krishna Chetty give testimony about investigations as well as another public submission. Baba Londenza reports.
Fidel Adams, the leader of